free. I mean it. If you don't like someone, feel free to kill them. If there's a girl you want, feel free to take her by force. This country is destined to perish and disappear anyway, right?
Welcome to my Fate Stay Night Realtor Nua Let's Play. I think I downloaded the wrong game. Welcome to Black Souls, an anti-JRPG game franchise that has somehow become one of my favorite games ever. It is basically the video game equivalent to a next child actor's bachelor party. The gameplay loop is the crack cocaine. The women are all 25 or under unless they're married or fit specific other tags, and the third DLC of the second game is the relapse and rehab afterwards. What do I do? The first installment of the Souls and Fairy Tale inspired franchise is a Bethesdian power fantasy where at the start you die to a plant, but by the end, via nuking rabbits or being clever with skill usage and team building, you become a god. While by the end of the second game, you'll be having one of the most mechanically unique and challenging RPG experiences, as you are left to throw yourself against bosses for hours, figuring out builds and strategies against them at every turn, knowing that one mistake can get you back to square one of the fight. All of this tied up neatly in an incredible story, showing us the best and worst of love, asking what is being human at all, what is our place in the greater picture of an existence not only unkind to us, but to its own gods, and a melancholic look back, not only to the past, but the concept of fate and determinism itself. Exploring all of that via some of the most fascinating and creative uses of eldritch lore I've seen, guiding the player, thematic red herring after red herring, grabbing me by the legs and swinging me around like a fucking pendulum. And so, to regale you about this disgustful, amazement-inducing and introspection-causing adventure, I need to start at the beginning, since, after all, whenever a game with questionable themes gets a following, there must be a good reason why. For whatever path brought you here, even if it's the aforementioned disgust, our souls are all tainted in some way. Okay, listen, the start is a bit slow, so you'll have to bear with me. Here's a TikTok I found. In this game, we follow our protagonist named Alice. I named them that. It's an rpgmaker game. I thought Alice would stop me from naming myself Alice. I'm now stuck with the name Alice. After our unimprisonment, Jean, soon-to-be Ash Ark, informs us that there is a fog spreading through the Lost Kingdom, which is slowly turning people around the world into demon beasts, and she's here to figure out what happened. But you know what comes next.
Body to bone fragments.
Our undead ass gets brought to the Holy Forest, the land of the fairies, where we finally meet our first companion, Leaf. She's whimsical and downright sadistic. Her mother put a shield around the woods in case a situation like this happened, making it a safe haven. Leaf chooses to help us on our journey to save the world. Well, more like she ushers us to do it. To that end, she has provided us with the Diddly dungeon. That's right, one of the unique mechanics of this game is the fact that you can put most NPCs in the dungeon or in the ground at almost any time. Involuntarily. Totally zero strings attached. Since now we have a few paths to check out, let's talk a bit about the gameplay. This is a turn-based RPG. The turns are based on a bar showing you when you can act, dictated by the speed stat. You can roll, parry, and block. By using all of these mechanics appropriately, you can do quite a lot of game very underleveled. Too bad I'm stupid, I died to Ornstein in the annoying orange. This is where, in my mind, I ask myself, what in the 5 Nights at Fuckboys have I gotten myself into? Your companions don't make a party in a traditional sense. You need to take turns to summon them so they can emotionally harass your opponents before slapping the shit out of them. Me and Nick, the combat boils down to setup turns to summon allies, ally setup skills, your own setup skills, figuring out a rotation, and then reacting to what the enemy does. That is, if you have time for everything. Spoiler, you don't. You level in 2 ways. One is upgrading specific stats using colored souls that are dropped by enemies, found around the environment, or bought after leveling becomes less worth it. The other method is using regular souls, the currency of this world. Since it's a souls-like, you drop them if you die, so you gotta know when to back away from enemies. About leveling your companions, well, I made the Fate reference for a reason. They have the best part of Fate Stay Night, guys! It's mana transfers, guys! It's mana transfers! After beating up Tomato and Plum, we get to meet Dorothy, the witch who let the two demon beasts in with some pity for them. She notices the book they dropped after we killed them and comments on the fact that it is a summoning book. A very complex one, in fact, even if it takes the form of a fairy tale. She has never seen anyone summon a demon beast, so it's impossible to know whether they were summoned like this or something along the way might have caused them to transform. Whoever did the summoning must be up to no good. After informing her about our quest to reach the Lost Kingdom, she realizes that we're undead and tells us that our kind was hunted and exterminated a long time ago. That means even if we're undead and keep reviving, there still seems to be a way to kill us for good. Following this up with asking us to forget about continuing our quest, as we'd only serve as a toy for the demonic princesses. You'd also think she'd become our next companion, but I can't find the Tin Man. Help. Through the sewers and out the prostitute werewolf-ridden streets of Undeadsburg lies Fort Ivern, place where we were kept imprisoned. Dragon. Beat the cats in the suit of armor and we're there at the gates of the Lost Kingdom. And we're not invited. To be able to enter, we must kill 4 out of 5 demonic princesses behind this ploy to turn everybody into demon beasts. Well, kill is the wrong term. You can, marry them? You may be asking, Dom, why is one of the 4 crystals glowing? Well, I might have gone into a mine made by the 3 little piglets, where they were preparing a gift for demonic princess Rapunzel. The gift being this creature called Behemoth, and I may or may not have gotten in there to fight him. Long story short, I lost, letting it loose. So it may or may not have wiped out an entire area and killed Rapunzel, but hey, less work for me. On our way to the next princesses, we explore such wondrous locations like the Infinite Desert, the Skeleton Cave where we revived Jean, and Rack and Tentacle Life versus a Million Dilla Life. The main religion in this kingdom believes in a god named Mary Sue, the creator. Mary Sue in our universe is a writing trope, a not very well defined one in fact. It's more like something you feel than something concrete. Basically, a perfect character with no flaws whatsoever, loved by all. It's quite clever since it's how a lot of religions look at gods as benevolent beings with no flaws whatsoever. The original form of this trope was used to define an overly perfect self-insert character, wink wink. The trope originated in the olden days, in a work of Star Trek fanfiction. Star Trek fanfiction. But inevitably, flaws are subjective. One flaw that everyone in this universe has is the need of souls to survive. The fog released by the demonic princesses steals the souls away. That is the reason why humans and creatures become demon beasts in the first place. It coincides with what Dorothy said. The fairy tale characters might have been summoned, and then the fog took away the essence of what they are. Red Riding Hood, who lives beyond the Peeper for example, seems to know that she comes from a fictional piece.
Do you have a fairy tale? I see. So you do have one. It obviously wasn't made for kids. The contents are just too cruel. Who on earth wrote it?
And with that, there's still one faction that's hard to touch upon in any segueable way. The Black Trial. A group of hunters who kill sinners to upkeep the balance in the land. Yeah, totally. Totally not about the demon mommy. Some of them even stalk and watch as people commit sins and only take their souls when they're ripe. With all this said, we're in a bit of a shit state. One of the trader NPCs is missing from the safe place. I have the sneaking suspicion that the safest place for everybody is in my basement. Little would I know, I already fucked up, and there's basically no one left to save. Welcome to Wonderland, the one where Alice is from. We have orbs and the 2 Chan rabbits.
Just between you and me, one a year, Mary Sue is the one pulling the strings. She has planned everything. That Alice was gone. Everything was her doing. Mary Sue is a huge woman, understand? Be careful, she's watching us at all times.
I think I'm gonna ignore that. Beyond Bandersnatch's puzzle lies the library from the start of the game, with Alice? She calls herself Alice O2.
She was close with you. That is recorded in my memory bank. Why did she die? Even I cannot understand that. But Alice O1 herself made me as a substitute. She may have foresaw her own death.
She affirms that the original Alice loved us and loved reading fairy tales here, before explaining that someone has stolen a bunch of them from the library. At the back end of the library, there is an ethereal door we cannot grab the handle of. New task acquired: kill the fairy tale characters and grab their books. That includes all 5 princesses as well. First is the Frog Princess. Marrying her is easy, just tell her you're a prince. She just f***ed half of my levels out of me. That's right. Just as we use souls to gain strength and give strength to others, these demonic princesses became some of the strongest beings in the same way. We can even see some of these princes meandering around. I can't believe I nutted in that. The Little Mermaid asks you for one of your companions. Fun fact, fairies are immortal since they are the embodiment of nature. Give her a leaf. The Little Mermaid reflects magic depending on her current state of war. Then we have Snow White, who wants the other princesses dead. And what's the point of marrying? The currently deceased Rapunzel asks for riches and a desert rose from the infinite desert. Good luck finding it, bucko. And with all that, the gates to the ball are open to us, the uninvited, and to all the invited ones. Even the plant that hates fairies and can make us health potions got invited.
Ah, I remember now. So that's why I hate fairies so... That's right. She is...
Well, that's strange. So, how did everything go to shit? Well, according to Leaf, her mother gave Cinderella a little bit too much magic. So Cinderella is now thriving even after the dream was supposed to end. Leaf thinks that victory is barely possible and tells us to be careful. Through this journey, she has started to genuinely care for us, even if at the start she thought we would go mad like everyone.
You'll go, no matter what? I understand. Then, will you take this?
She hands you a ring.
My charm. You're not allowed to lose it, got it? Cherish it.
The issue is, this is the final area, yet there's 3 entire routes I have not explored yet. You see, the old part of Undeadsburg has a problem with the female variety. A fallen angel now resides with a bunch of succubi. I can't be these hoes. I can stealth mission through here if I'm not stupid, only to be greeted with God's mistake, who, for a moment, by pure scent, mistakes us for Marisu. The other area is the Black Sabbath. You thought 3 Krakens were fun? Get ready for gazillion. Both of these areas are outside my capabilities and require preparation. By preparation, I mean... One of the best parts of this game is how casual the gameplay feels, and that includes grinding. No matter which point of the game you are in, there is a mechanic to minimize the dread of repetitive genocide, the difficulty slider. With it, enemies indeed become harder, but drop more souls on each kill, meaning whenever you're stuck you can snowball quite quickly, then set the difficulty back to a lower one and you're good to go. Or that would be the case if Wonderland didn't exist. What in the actual fuck were the developers thinking? The rabbits drop an incredible amount of souls, on the condition that you have to one-shot them. So, pick the highest difficulty in which you can get consistent one-shots, build as much magic damage as you can, one-shot, run around, can't one-shot, or want to be even more efficient? No problem, max Sandor Blade. Now you have actually 2 turns. Run around, one-shot, consume souls, increase difficulty, build pure damage, one-shot. The soul drop exceeds anything the game expected, and even now you can almost one-shot any enemy in the game at most difficulties. However, we're not done, since almost is not good enough. Lilith is still a hard fight, but reasonable. Although, she doesn't matter. Who matters is the boss of the Black Sabbath, since killing him gives us the access to the most broken spell in the game, a heavy Soul Discharge. Soul Discharge is a 4-hit random target attack. It was basically the best damage dealing skill in the game, until now.
Man, as long as you got the whole populate.
Special ability, Mega Cup Blast. Guys, I found the Tin Man. Dorothy didn't just send us to kill 3 random innocent creatures. All 3 were the Cagliostro-esque mage's apprentices, turned into demon beasts. Not only that, this isn't even Dorothy's house. This house was supposed to belong to the Good Witch of the Woods, but her experiments went a little far, and she ended up dying trying to stop the Sabbath, leaving Dorothy here, alone, in the Lost Kingdom. For our next companion, we got Elizabeth Bathory, the Torture Queen, mother of Red Riding Hood. And no, I am not making this shit up. I already tried to make the 2 be friends, henceforth the reason we are here. A patricide. And now... Cinderella spread the fog to start the new age of humanity, running a kingdom of demon beasts, saying that we should all give our souls for the cause. Denying this is denying the future of humanity, yada yada bing boom. The final step remains, touching the fog alone or with whatever companion you want. The companion endings show you having a life together with them, like returning to the country that John is from, ruling the world with Dorothy, living with the emotionless Red Riding Hood and reaching happiness from any small compliments she gives you. Except Things don't end well. A rain of fire from the heavens burns Jean and her entire country, as if God acknowledging that she was truly a witch, her rebirth, a sin. Dorothy, after fulfilling her wish of world domination with us, gives birth to seemingly another demon. The other companions I don't have yet share similar fates. The two exceptions, however, are Red Riding Hood, who abandons you, leaving a letter on the table.
I won't return for a while. You can wait for my return or leave. Either way is fine with me. Just don't look for me. Demotic princesses were victims too. I'm going to kill the one behind it all. I'm sorry for being so selfish, but if possible, I don't want to involve you. I couldn't show it properly, but it's not like I'm not interested in you. If you do wait for me to come back, I want you to welcome me as just an ordinary girl. Left as it is, I don't know what's going to happen. I'll never lose. As long as I'm alive, the story won't end.
The second exception is Leaf. Leaf sending is just you living happy in the holy forest. Touching the fog alone also results in you being hailed as a hero, and that's it. A familiar voice beckons you to go fill the library and find the whole truth. That is why today we are joining the Black Trial. God, on your name, I am paying the church to rid me of my sins. Little does she know, I already killed them all. Oh, that's the level up NPC. What wouldn't we do for some archdemonacy? I feel like Aiden Ross on the couch with this one, I'm gonna be honest. Now she wants entry into the holy forest. I'm sure nothing bad would happen. Baphomet has seemingly turned everyone into paste, even the fairies that are supposed to be immortal. Now, there's only one place to see, the dungeon. There, surrounded by darkness, Leaf is the last one who remains, pleading for help. Baphomet says that Leaf is the one who staged this whole play, but still, Leaf at least manages to convince our character to help, as Baphomet gives her last speech about not being under Leaf's control. For in reality, she was not originally the demon who was the leader of the Black Trial. She was the creature Glinda the Good Witch summoned in the woods. She was the one who left the last leader of the Black Trial, Leonard, the demon we fight in the Sabbath, in such a state. Baphomet is an outer god, the Lamb of 1,000 Young, who invaded this space and basically took the role of leading the Black Trial from Leonard's hand. Go gadget heavy soul discharge. We managed to bring down Baphomet as she asked us how she could lose to a simple fake. Calling us a fake? A fake of what? Leaf says that Baphomet embraced emotions a bit too much as Baphomet starts begging Leaf to spare her, saying, will you forgive her mother?
But you are my mother.
Leaf then proceeds to blast our companion, saying that this was as good as ending as any, and that we, together, shall make even more stories. Only to be interrupted by Alice, who calls Leaf Mary Sue. And I don't know which Alice is talking about when she says Alice. I am going to Alice. This was technically the final ending of the game added in DLC 1, but I got it third, so you shall see it third as well. And now... Alice left us a final message for when we finish the library.
You hearing this means that all books are back in the library. You have my sympathies. It'll be very hard, very painful, yet you and I cannot relieve your pain. Even on the replica, I forced this. But this path leads to the truth. That for...
We need to steel ourselves. We are the protagonist of the story, no one else. We'll be the only one who knows about the world ending. And of course, the replica adds her own final detail. It's surprisingly hard to put into words what kind of attachment this game manages to make you build with the characters. From meeting them, to their silly lines of dialogue when you pit them against a boss, to their stories, their wishes for the future. Yes, they are quite ropey and bare bones, but in a good way, where the blanks don't leave you to hate them, rather wonder about their lives. As I said at the beginning, dark, disturbing, or even down bad themes need to have a purpose to exist in a piece of media, otherwise they're genuinely off-putting. You don't need to know the torment a character who dies in the story goes through to appreciate and understand what the story is trying to tell. Yet the line between edgy and dark, uncomfortable and cringe-inducing grimdark, and respectfully tackling these subjects, let's be real, isn't a slim one, but it's still a blunder a lot of games make. Even Black Souls has a handful of these meaninglessly uncomfortable moments, but outside of that, it presents disturbing disturbing aspects around its world in a genuinely creepy way. It is really conscious of the horrors and the things that happen on display here. It is very good at making you think about what is happening. The game outright knows how the player will look at things or want to look at things, and so, if you so desire, the game will twist its writing to turn a blind eye to your twisted actions. Even besides that, there is something more, something that I consider greater than showing a character's journey in an understandable way, greater than showing horrific actions in a way that is not fully off-putting. That is, pulling emotions out of the player. It brings me back to my childhood, I mean even teenage years. There's this game called This War of Mine, where it's like a little survival game based when a war is happening, and then you go around and collect materials, bring them back to shelter, help, your family members or people you recruit, and then you have to go out and you have to go to more places. And in the other places there are refugees and everything, and there are always points where you have to, kind of make moral choices to survive. And I would always pick the options to help people, and if they saw me stealing, I would immediately leave the area when I was attempting to steal, and even for stealing I had to brace myself. God, it's genuinely such a strange image to look at myself as a person at this point. Because inevitably I am into all of these horrific things, and then there's the large part of me that just, hates doing this. And these aspects have never in my life come together into something like this. God damn. I just gotta do what I gotta do.
It's alright. It's fine. I'll accept all of you, Master. I love you.
Now, the issue. There are a total of 10 companions you can get in this game, and I have a whopping 4. So even if I wanted to get their fairy tales, sucks to suck, I need to find their corpses somewhere. Second issue, no kill button. If I hit the other button, I get snarky remarks back. Leaf says we outright can't. The fairy freezing liquid we got earlier won't work on her, cause she is God! So, how to kill them all is a problem for later, since we gotta fill out this roster first, from the top. Let's break down how this game functions. Every time you beat a fog wall boss, with a few exceptions, you gain progression. Progression is the main value that makes things happen. The second thing that makes things happen is NPC interactions and killing specific targets. All of these often mesh together into if X has not been talked to before progression Y, they will die. If you also didn't kill boss Z, then they will also die. Truly, the bane of my existence. And the last item that impacts events is the sin counter. Useful on few occasions, detrimental on most. Some of your party members really don't like you collecting sins. And now, let us begin. Talk to this camouflage motherfucker. Go here, pick nothing up, you idiot! My ability to be stupid is incredible. If you don't pick up the breadcrumb trail, you don't fulfill Hansel and Gretel's fairy tale. They can find their way back home, therefore they're not demon beasts. Confirming that at least they were summoned in their original forms. Help them? Doesn't really matter. You need their book, and they're, not good people. Dorothy, Undeadsburg, talk to Little Match Girl, Lord of the Manor. Enter the obvious door that I missed here last time, and voila, new companion, Victoria the Maid. A support character who applies grease to your blade in more ways than one, more times than you ask. Clumsy, but basically the best physical build support in the entire game. In her ending, you come to learn that her hobby of ripping your souls from you is not just because she's like that. She is half succubus, and so she slowly goes insane, getting into gore and trying to kill you infinitely, since you're immortal. So you kill her back, and I liked her, man. Save the Knight Izu, we'll get back to him later. Save Elma, child item effectiveness up and support. Not as broken as other people, she kidnaps people and makes produce out of them. Yikes. Free birth, give her 1,000 dilla. Green guy again, purple guy in jail, no behemoth just yet. The dragon refuses to die. Talk to Catherine. Turns out Izu is Cinderella's son. He has no clue what led her to her insane belief, but he will go fight his mom. Real. Go to the dead end in the skeleton cave that I never came back to in another run, and here's our new companion. On another support, she's a saint trying to investigate what's happening here. Her ending is joining the church with her. The love is forbidden, but you see each other in passing. Here come the Satanist. Oh no, who could have seen a character ending being bad? They seemingly summoned the goat of 1,000 young there, who would canonically probably still be sitting in the Black Trial playing the leader role. She is quite confused at the fact that someone decided to pull her leg and teleport her into a random church for an ending. Purple Knight, if you kill both of them to solve their conflict, you don't actually commit a sin. Huh, give Elizabeth Bathory the ring she lost and voila, on another magic user. She uses the fairy blood to bathe and stay young forever. Don't worry, she won't betray you. In her ending, she betrays you and takes the throne from Cinderella, and we say, fuck it, we're her knight now. Possibly our guy hit every hero coming to kill Bathory with heavy soul discharge, making any dramatic or thematically appropriate ending impossible. So Mary Sue just kinda blows her up. Go to the bog after committing 5 sins. She is literally Goku, a human girl who joined the Black Trial to get stronger by fighting stronger and stronger opponents. Physical damage character, does multiple attacks on attack, cuddles after battle while bathed in blood. For her ending, you and her go seeking war over and over, living a life fighting side by side as mercenaries. While you're immortal, she gets more and more hurt, trying to push beyond human limits. And she keeps pushing, telling you that she's fine, until she's not, leaving you all alone. Goose, the final ally, is a thief half-demon beast bird who is very sweet, and after we choose not to forgive her for stealing, she wants to actually spend her life with us. Her ending is you an undead and her a half-demon beast being hated upon for your race, as you live in a tree with your sociopath son, whose first laughter is seeing his mother's death at the hands of the people. With that, princessicide. And now we're back at Cinderella. To get a covenant with her, we need to talk to her son again, wear his armor, and pretend to be him. What the fuck? Having all 10, technically 9 companions and touching the fog by yourself gives you a different ending than touching it alone, where everyone settles down to celebrate in the Holy Forest. It's almost like a prequel to all the character endings, some characters hoping you would join them, and as you sit down at the table, everyone disappears and the credits roll. All that remains now is the library. To kill our now companions, we need to visit Pinocchio's Love Hotel meets Saw. Ignore the dementia-ridden lion rider on the roof. Also, Pinocchio was already dead. I wonder why. With someone here, it's either bone or kill. And for my purposes, it is kill. I am trying to mask my sadness, please help. Of course, some don't go without resistance. Elizabeth doesn't give up on her life, questioning why we even betrayed her. Meanwhile, Dorothy was the strongest wizard, and she continued reincarnating over and over to achieve her goals. She thanks us for making her this strong and says that she truly wanted to rule the world together with us. Reincarnating into a woman was a mistake. If that didn't happen, if she didn't fall for us. Victoria shows her true succubi form. Wait, what fairy tale is Victoria from again?
Basically, we did not need to kill them all, we just needed to kill the ones that originate from fairy tales.
So, yeah, I may have killed a couple of innocent people, but no worries, it's just me and God now. It isn't that hard to figure out that Leaf is Mary Sue, even before Alice just tells us. It's quite obvious from all the exploding people, how she talks about both the bosses and the hints she gives at bonfires.
Leaf is Mary Sue.
In a way, Mary Sue as the narrative trope, she's perfect. A foil that puts everything into motions to achieve your fantasies. An impartial partner perpetuating and allowing for your darkest desires, at least until the time for the world to outright ban and punish us comes. The fact that with each ending, no matter who you pick, you're treated differently. Loved as a hero with Jean, hated because of being undead with Goose, completely ignored by the world in other cases, as if to torment us no matter what choice we make. The ends are tragic, but thematically fitting in a sense. A lesson not to revive the dead, not to defy God. Classic old horrific plot twists of fairy tales of the olden days used to scare kids. The only conclusion is that this world is not real. It's made by Mary Sue. Even the lore that most undead are killed is here to justify our existence in this world. The world is her plaything, a play of horrors that people or even eldritch gods can wander into and steal a role, or just be entertaining enough to where she just leaves them be, until they're appropriate plot pushing demise. It puts into question how characters like Victoria had a job being a maid to a master who later turns into this. Were the characters always in these circumstances, or have their histories been completely rewritten to fit what happens here? Maybe this isn't a made-up dream where book characters can become real. Maybe it's overlaying reality in a way. Maybe Mary Sue has fused people on the fairy tales, then left them in the fog to slowly lose themselves. A familiar seeming narrator tells us that the world is about to break. Before we see the Holy Forest in its true state, A mess of strewn about discolored yellow and pink tinted assets. Prayer Master, the level up NPC, ponders the fact that we were all just controlled by Mary Sue and calls himself a traitor in regards to us. He did something to Alice, the original Alice, telling us he misses the time we would all sit around the table and drink tea. Mary Sue has the power to change reality to whatever she desires. Even if everything seemed natural, we have to doubt it, as he encourages us to fight her. We next find Leaf getting beaten by the now slug-like malformed fairies. She is trying to feign innocence as the world falls apart. Maybe she has something planned. And even as the world falls apart, we did kill our companions to get here. Wait, what's my sync counter at? Oh god fucking damn it.
Hello, sinner. It is I, the Doomslayer, here to punish you for introducing more people to this godforsaken franchise.
And so we reach the top where Leaf asks us to guess who Mary Sue... We already know. You see, Mary Sue did all this in a time before she could pretend to be human and go down and get therapy. Humans are trite creatures, continuously killing each other, saying the same prayers over and over, and Mary got bored of that. She got enamored with fairy tales of Grimm and many other authors. Grimm is our true name, at least one Mary remembers. So one day Mary Sue had an idea, to repaint this world with the fairy tales. How fun would that be, changing them to fit what she wanted? We resisted a bit too much, so we lost our body memories and were forced into the protagonist's role in this new land.
The prince slain the dragon, saved the princess, and everyone lived happily ever after. The end. We aren't going with something so trite. Kill, cheat, betray. A hopeless end fitting for this tale. I'm loving it! Everything you've built up till now, I'll destroy! You just don't get it, do you? All you do is completely pointless! There is no next page waiting for you, even if you kill me! Only the back over! With the story over, the world goes still! Only you breathe! Everyone else repeats the same lines! And in that lonely world, once you get to know it, you too will soon fall into the eternal sleep!
After we beat her, she expects us to kill her, but Grimm goes in for a hug. She's confused, but Grimm affirms that he still loves her. In reality, yes, humanity is tried, ridden with warfare, horrific acts, meaningless deaths, and wishes. An actually interesting life or events where everything lines up to be a worthwhile story are rare, and sitting through that in loneliness over and over, all day, every day, seems horrific. Let's pause for a second and talk about our protagonist, Grimm, sometimes discomforted when a young girl approaches him, but who at the same time dives headfirst into nefarious deeds, killing and forcing himself onto others in horrific ways. An inconsistent enigma. In real life, Grimm is not the name of a singular author. It is the last name of two brothers who collected Germanic folklore tales together, which, as some of you might know, weren't collected with family values in mind, like the kids playing slaughtering. Rapunzel in the first edition of Brother Grimm's Tales had allusions to boning and pregnancy in it. Surprise, surprise, folklore tales hitting the shelves with people assuming that their cool stories for the kids did not go over well. The brothers got their hands smacked quite a bit. In time, a lot of the tales that were brutal, the tales that didn't match middle-class Christian values, and the tales that were traced back to not be of Germanic origin got removed from the collection, or changed by the brothers themselves. Now, I say brutal, but they were still fairy tales, nowhere close to what Mary Sue cooked up. But at this moment, when I heard Mary Sue's reasoning, I empathized with her. After all, having the repetitivity of everyone's existence weighing on you every day, alone, must have been hard, as both Grimm and Mary fall to the floor in a loving embrace, staring down at each other. Grimm grabs her by the throat and wrings her. To me, at the moment, that felt like the final statement. The final tear. The fact that me and Grim are different people. Brothers in a way, as my actions and what I believe in have no effect on him outside of where to go, what attack to do, and who to throw in a dungeon. Grim strangling Mary Sue gave me the same feeling that having to kill every companion I had through the game did. It hurt. I'll pull back the veil a bit. Some of my interests align with the tags of this game, but all of these moments are still gut-wrenching. Most people probably felt a similar dread at some point of this game. Whatever one enjoys, whatever one creates, we're still human. At least, most of us are. In retrospect, Mary got what was coming to her. She is a psychopathic god who'd write horrific ending after horrific ending over and over to torment Grim. Whatever choice he made, he suffered. Mary Sue is someone who is impossible to trust. Even the current surprise and innocence could all be fake. But the pain of all the endings and the horrors we've endured is real. Funnily enough, selling off Leaf's ring makes it so the latter horrific parts of the character endings don't show up. Mary Sue is now dead, as all the companions appear behind us and we set off to possibly restore the world, as we're back at the Holy Forest, with our only alive companion Mary Sue as before. Her predictions of everyone repeating the lines ironically coming true in game form. Going to the fog one last time and picking Leaf's ending gives us this.
This is just the beginning. I'm the author, the character, the mastermind, or maybe the princess. Any role I'll perform perfectly, even the one where I die. Well, Grim, this is my love letter. Sweet happy endings, gloomy bittersweet endings, hopeless bad endings. All I give you.
My opinion of this game is quite good. The gameplay is just genuine, casual, addicting fun. The story is quite humble and small in scale. The mystery was quite obvious, but the lore details, characters, and fairy tale inspirations kept me going. My main complaint is that the game feels quite empty. I'm glad I played through the game blind for my first run through, but I expected a bit more than a handful of actions of choices to have impact. The amount of quest lines and details that changed because of our actions felt small, plus my inexperience with games led me to not revisit the stupid skeleton cave that ends after every boss. Playing with a guide tends to make this game feel a lot more full, since there's so much you can miss around every corner, and a lot of chances for big mistakes that with bad saving habits can be really annoying. But all in all, it's a nice and humble beginning. And I'll soon come to regret every one of my complaints for the coming 60 plus hours. Have you ever asked yourself, what makes you, you? You are a multitude, yet nothing to a god. The deterministic idea of fate. From an outsider's look, your entire life, like clockwork, your natural mechanisms, cogs, every second turning, twisting, moving along time. You are the clock. They are the clockmakers. Changing a cog in nature to them is nothing. From exchanging limbs to changing wills. Madness. Can you ever bring yourself to believe the clockmakers, who continuously attempt to prove and elongate their existence to a fault? Or do you scream at the cosmos, at their zealousness, at the idea of them coming closer to becoming human? And this time I didn't name myself Alice. We are about to wake up as a familiar voice calls out to us. It is, choose your favorite flavor of incest. Your boy has to go with the motto. So we are shaping reality now, seemingly. Good morning, Oni-chan. I'm keeping this in the video, fuck you. We seemingly are at the garden where we find the skill unlock corpse in the first game, as little sister Alice feeds us until we doze off again. When we awake, we're all alone. Where is Alice? The ground gives way. I'm worried about Alice. The ground gives way. I am going to. The ground gives way. Welcome to the hole where we will spend the rest of our eternity, it seems. And there he goes. Get a load of this guy. For this game, we have hints. Fake Souls-like player messages that we can turn on and off. I'm starting my first run with them off. There's no longer a sin counter. Unless the translator spelled sin wrong, corpse rating did raise the counter by 1. Now, we have the key. I wonder what dualities await. We find ourselves in the new hub area, the library dream.
Being hollow reduces your max HP. To cure it, use Girl's Scent or defeat a boss.
I cannot make this shit up. Here we meet our salesman of the game, a teddy bear plushie. He tells us that we're not different, being used as toys for them. He says that our goal is to find Alice. He assures us that we'll be fine and that we will find her for sure.
Irresponsible words, I know, but good luck.
And here, the goal of this game is established. Find Alice, blindly. Just like last time, the library has a door at the end we cannot grasp. One of the differences though is that this time the shelves aren't empty. The library is overstocked, piles of books placed at every corner. And of course, the dungeon. If you wish to protect from madness, try imprisonment. And with that... What? Welcome to, the land of the corpse-eating rabbits? You may be asking, I wonder who these rabbits are chewing on. Well, they're chewing on the first chivalric order of Windsor, House of Windsor being the current royal family of Britain. The knights have been sent on an expedition, but soon are left stranded with no information from the prince, before waking up here. Unfortunately for them, these fictional lands seem more unstable than ever, and people can fall into wherever this is.
Oh.
Meowing.
Say hello to our new companion character who will accompany us to each of the bonfires. Her honkers, massive. Her dialogue, incomprehensible.
Thin, vertically, narrow, horizontally, roundish wonderland with no up or down. And where are you in such a hurry to go?
I am going to Alice. Gameplay this time is a little different since we'll be raw dogging our enemies companionless. The mechanics I managed to ignore the last game actually come into play. You can now break your opponent's attacks if they're charging, chanting, or defending, stunning them for a couple of their turns and making them as fragile as a glass jar. Dodging gives you a 70% chance to take 0 damage from a hit, unless it's unavoidable. Block power depends on your equipment, and not interacting with these mechanics often punishes you substantially. Add to that spells now having a cooldown and actual equipment slots, and we have functional builds this time, baby. But we'll worry about that when the time comes. For now... What a pleasant location we find ourselves at. You know, in Souls games, the game drops you against a hard boss, you lose, and that's the method the game uses to prep you for the fact you're going to suffer. Welcome to the Pond of Bloody Tears, an early mid-game area I got to by ignoring the first boss out of fear of progression. All I can say is, good luck. From here we can go on a shroom trip with Alice. We found her, game done, a couple of her even. With my trauma of fog walls, I took my time exploring every direction I could before daring to increase my progression. Oh, a new NPC has appeared in our hub. I wonder why is that? It's a pleasure to meet you, Lord Grimm. I am Node. I serve as the librarian here. She says that Wonderland is now tainted by madness and violence. She considers us a treasured guest here, and she warns us to look out for the 4 nightmares that dwell in this country. The Frumious Bandersnatch, the Mad Bird Jub, the Corpse Dragon Jabberwock, and Fristle's Tyrant, the Red Queen. If we meet any of them, we should be careful not to have our soul taken. But now it's time for more wholesome meetings. Except I, as the same person, am afraid of women, specifically speaking to and approaching them. The all-knowing bird Dodo knows everything, even where Alice is, so we ask... Why do I bother? The next area we can find from here is the Little Cemetery. Here we can meet Knight Pumpkin, a man with a wife. He asks us if we're from this land, since there are a lot of strangers appearing from outside, getting lost in here. Many die or join the mad. He's been dozing off here, so he knows nothing of Alice, but hearing of our quest, he gives us a little gift. Past the cemetery lies a few areas. One is the Garden of Hearts, which we promptly get kicked out of. Next is the cathedral, where they worship the snake god.
Ass lizard.
Jesus Christ, Cheshire cat, you cannot say that. I hate this place. And so, after our meandering, Dodo's race has finished. In this game, you'll be alone. Forever. for the most part. So you are able to form covenants with the various heroines in the game, adding to your build variety. I am here to announce, leveling up in this game no longer requires copulation. You can increase the level of the covenant to make the buff it gives stronger, and to gain various gifts like the ability to change your movement speed at will or buy special items. In general, this game's characters compared to the first one are a lot more wholesome, i.e. say, flirting with a bird in the middle of a lake of blood.
A little bit embarrassed. What is sen? What is sen?
Why does kissing women and raiding corpses give me sen? Of course, putting someone in the basement or them dying is going to break the covenant. So with zero thoughts, back to Shroomland to meet Pumpkin Knight again, as he is on his way to see his wife. Character questlines is one of the ways you can get companions for boss fights. Another is regaining your humanity via girl scent and summoning a spirit. These spirits being the fairy tale bosses from the previous game. Winning the fight with them as your support will give you their book. Madness spirits are also located in various places across the world. Fairy tale characters warped by the madness of reality who have forgotten the little girl and started showing their fangs. And the worst part of becoming human again is the fact that you can be invaded by nightmare spirits. If dream spirits have been the fairy tales the girl liked twisted by an offer, nightmare spirits are the various murderers she heard about throughout her life. And if you thought any statement I said up to this point was absolutely psychotic, wait till you meet these.
Oh, the bisexual dinosaur!
I know your mother literally named you Agag and God turned you into a furry, but you can't be attacking people on a bridge, man. Welcome to the town, which is built as if made with building blocks. London. We even have the mental ward. Today, where hole in me will be made? Called the stupid shithole by the sign, this city is not well liked by its citizens, with the whole prostitution and homelessness problem.
Well, look at that. What a fine house to live in, don't you think? No, nobody thinks like this. They shake their heads and leave.
The citizens put the blame on someone named the Carpenter, who seemingly got paid by the Queen to build Castle Frittle, and just vanished, not helping anyone anymore. A few people from the bar seem to have seen Alice. Just don't talk to the baby. We're back here? Man, this Wonderland is truly slim, big, and round. There's even the kidnapper. Right from the get-go, this game writing-wise compares to the previous one like night and day. It's incredible how whimsical fairy tale allegories mix so well with Souls-esque small storytelling and item descriptions, as the story sends us on a journey of being lost via the many characters who might know Alice, each with their own quest lines, covenants, interactions, and most importantly, different information. From the weed-smoking caterpillar that can't grow up pointing us to the Duchess, to the snake god Shrine Maiden Bill giving us a pass to see the Queen of Hearts. Taking a peek into the aforementioned areas, the people of our hub have a bit more dialogue now. The bear laments about having no memory and purely existing as a stuffed toy.
Don't treat me like a real stuffed toy. And besides, if anyone gets to pet me, it's gotta be a woman. That's how I am.
My, haven't you refused being pet by me?
No, it's just... Snow's eyes get rather scary. Me aside, you'd better be careful sharing souls with women. They don't discriminate. I haven't even known one of them decides to gut you like a goose that lays golden eggs.
Mr. Polar Bear, I'd rather you didn't spread unfounded rumors.
See? Told you they're danger. Got long ears, that one.
Node has now heard that we've traveled quite far and has a warning for us. We shouldn't take what people of this country tell us at face value, knowing that all of them will breathe lies and babble thoughtless nonsense. She asks that we steal our soul, as to not be deceived. Guys, I think the Red Queen might be a little bit insane.
Call her the freak of hearts.
Now you see, this path is all fine and good, but I'm stuck. I don't know where to go, and past me did the puzzle backwards like an idiot. The Duchess situation is similar, except I don't have any meat. I am not going down there. Maybe the kidnapper has some meat. Yo, perfect. I died.
Again, pick me up again.
Fight a ship, because he said it thrice, it must be true. Scream, I am going to Alice, to the scared woman. Wander around aimlessly. And so, my search was hopeless. Dead end after dead end, because my ass could not play croquet. If only I had some antidepressants. So sen is actually sanity. It drops by killing people or consuming black souls. It is raised by raiding corpses and, just like in real life, interacting with women.
Guys, I am so sane.
From 100 to 0, sanity changes certain details about the game, from making the music disappear into silence, droning, or outright ambience, making you incapable of understanding what anyone is saying, summoning annoying enemies, making you perceive most of the heroines as monsters. But there's something strange about this. Hearing your footsteps as you walk, the wind against the leaves, the forest being on fire. It isn't scary per se outside of a few areas. It is ambience you'd hear in reality, listening to nothing outside. Just ignore the eyeballs. The only outlier is that certain locations, the silence is cut by the noise of babies crying. Too bad I figured out how to open the gate.
I have a cheat code for this.
Listen, princess, I am going to Alice. God, she's really into beheadings, isn't she?
Have you heard this tactic, same strike? You heard this tactic, same skill? Have you heard of this tactic called same skill? Just the same skill.
She laments her knights being dead and the fact that no one is going to execute us, but this time she actually listens to our words. Lorena speaks about how she ordered Alice to be executed, and that before long Griffey, the Diamond Knight, will return, which, spoiler alert, won't happen. We won't see her for a while because of the choices I made. Oh well, it seems this route is a dead end. Clearly, I am the superior being. Robin Hood doesn't like black bitch. You cannot make this shit up. Oh look, Bandersnatch has a snowman in her cave. It even has a message. How are you? I'm now alive. This is a very nice place. Bandersnatch seems to remember the previous game. She was tasked with protecting... Oh no. She does feel sorry about abruptly attacking an acquaintance of Alice. This surely will give me a new area to explore. God damn it, I'm back at the fish market with the goddamn rapist monkey. Very smart fish. Too bad his dumb bash just ate a macroplastic made by a child by accident in the Shine Factory.
It's back to the same argument where in Souls games, you know, it's so subtle and shit's fucked up, but explaining Black Souls lore to my Dark Souls friends being like, okay, so there's this monkey who assaults a crab girl, and then the crab dad, and then there's a whole quest line where you chase him across the fish market when the people ate the polluted fish and turned into insane fish people.
Now, on to the butcher. He's a little insane, but past him is Christmas Land, Carol River. Listen to the sound of the bells. We even have snowmen and Santa Claus. There's even Humpty Dumpty being an allegory for pregnancy. I don't care who you send, I am not paying alimony. And with that, once again, faster than one can realize, barely scratching the surface of the game, I'm beyond the point of saving most of everyone. The door is now tangible. Node informs us that not long ago a cat carrying a blonde girl went through the door. The blonde girl must be Alice. Even the bear congratulates us. Past the door, a long staircase, a space, and then finally, a room adorned with plushies, a closed-off doll on a bed, a painting of a family, and the Cheshire cat. She talks about how she died not long after giving birth, so she only knew Alice as a little girl.
You aren't the only one eager to meet Alice. It's a shame. I really am sorry. Dreams and lies are no different to me. I'll be waiting for you, past the door.
Awaiting us past the door is Alice, and after blocking our path to her, Beast Dina appears. And so she tears Alice to bits as her soul is broken. Cool fact number 1. Basically, all of my covenants are dead. From Ethan to Overdose to Ethan.
I'm running on a vengeance now. I'm actually pissed.
Fun fact 2. Getting an ending means you cannot retry the boss, so reload to a save before then. Throwing my sanity back in the dumps like the local alcoholic in Billingsgate Fish Market, I have an incredible revelation. I can walk into the mental ward, the least Euclidean area in this game. Uh-oh, we got patients that give you madness. We've got women that give you madness, just like in real life. We got the lion guy from FGO doing brain surgery. We got Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Why did I lose sanity? I feel like that's a new Game Plus issue. Seemingly, this place functioned as a somewhat normal institution before people claiming to be fairy tale characters came along. Combine it with the fact that the names of in-game locations correspond to real life, and an image starts to paint itself. We're in Britain. All in all, what Cheshire Cat says is often a hint. For example, at the Academy gates, the line between sanity and insanity is slim is a hint, since beating Edith in the insane asylum allows us to enter Oxford Academy. Okay, but what the fuck is this a hint for? The hollowing mechanic and sanity makes exploring this game insanely fun. It gives every area a multitude of layers, since at 0 sanity you cannot see or raid corpses, which often have the best items, but you can see a bunch of wacky shit and changes, including the snowman being really fucked up. Girl, daughter, sister, mother, is that right? Listen carefully. Do not pick a choice. Enemy. How is this more disturbing than everything every other game does? I was like, oh, it's gonna be the cast of characters of the previous game, and then you see only 4 cages, and then the last one is the snowman of you. Light is in the way. Only you are eagerly awaited. It won't go as thought. Why? My head was made a mess by the mass of the stars. I'm in a dream, forever and ever and ever and ever. Don't be deceived by superficial love, believe only in true love. Plus, the ability to collect memories. He will find her. He has carefully nurtured the true love for the sole reason. Human emotions are difficult. Without an intervention, they wouldn't develop to one's satisfaction. How many years had passed since then? Still a friendless bachelor, still spending all my time on math, photography, and writing in a gloomy attic. Every single night, the dazzling smile of that little girl came to my mind. I'd already grown old. I only wanted to see Alice one last time before I died. I hoped, and right away my hope was answered. A letter arrived for me, an invitation to a Christmas party. The sender, Alice Little. I trembled with joy. How many years has it been? I wonder how Alice is doing. Will she let me take a picture of her again? I headed to the venue looking just as I had been on the day we parted, ignoring all the others. I was only looking for Alice, and yet I couldn't see the little girl anywhere. Mr. Carroll, teacher, is that you? The hoarse voice of an old woman called my name. In the end, I turned to face her. Wrinkly skin, colored by protruding blood vessels, bony arms, discolored hair. I get it. I'm such a fool. Deep in my heart, I already knew it, didn't I? The little girl wouldn't remain so forever. Unable to think straight, I rushed out of the party. The whole ring of a downpour ridiculed me as I ran. She had married, she had lived a rich life. My dreams strained, broke and vanished, and my heart, there was nothing left of it. A pile of old photographs and a single copy of a fairy tale greeted my dripping form back home. In them, even now, Alice was still a little girl, pestering me for stories. Time is a cruel mistress. I want to go back to these days. If there is a god, please hear my wish.
You seem like you'll make a fine material. Allow me to use you, okay?
The grief of a life lost, not to the concept of death, but to doing nothing. All in the golden afternoon, full leisurely we glide. For both our oars with little skill, by little arms are plied, by little hands make vain pretense our wanderings to guide. A cruel free in such an hour, beneath such dreamy weather, to beg a tale of breath too weak to stir the tiniest feather. Yet what can one poor voice avail against three tongues together? Imperious Prima flashes forth, her edict to begin it. In gentler tones Secunda hopes there will be nonsense in it, while Tertia interrupts the tale not more than once a minute. Anon to sudden silence one in fancy they pursue, the dream child moving through a land of wonders wild and new, in friendly chat with bird or beast and half believe it true. And ever as the story drained the wells of fancy dry, and faintly strove the very one to put the subject by, the rest next time, it is next time, the happy voices cry. Thus grew the tale of Wonderland, thus slowly one by one, its quaint events were hammered out and now the tale is done, and home we steer a merry crew beneath the setting sun. Alice, a childish story take, and with a gentle hand lay it where little girls' dreams are twined. In memory's mystic band, like pilgrims withered wreath of flowers, plucked in a far-off land. Seemingly a tale of the creation of Wonderland, we best keep these in mind for later. After beating up Elizabeth for the third time, we enter what is downright the worst area in the game. These woods are full of trees that stop you from sprinting, chimneys, and most of all, spiders you can't walk around. But the reward for starting the trek to the Looking Glass is on another familiar face, Victoria. I'm gonna go spend my souls? I'm sad. I don't want to beat her up again. It's surprising that this kinda... Because this is a fairy tale and all the stories, you know, preset and have certain endings that are made for them by God, the writer. It kinda has a gimmick of fate to it, but it's not really, you know, breaking fate. Desperation against fate isn't the right word. It's kind of a look into the past in a way. Except, you know, actually, you know, kinda melancholic, like... I made mistakes in my life and I kinda regret how I spent my time here. At least the tale of Alice from the Flames. I had this stupid-ass fucking monologue for a boning minigame. For a goddamn boning minigame. Oh. I won the boning minigame, but being the man of culture I am, press continue, only to immediately lose. The pride of man is his own downfall. And with that, rejoice! The prophets have heard our cries for salvation and have mercifully delivered us a fucking roller coaster. Too bad I'm insane. I get to fight chess.
This land originally belonged to the White Queen. It was a vast ocean from horizon to horizon, but it was so terribly boring. The Red Queen drove everyone out, filled up the ocean, and built this magnificent amusement park.
There's even the Hallway of Women, which, just like in real life, regenerates your sanity. Rawr. Sorry for making you wait, everyone. Thanks for gathering here today for Pricket. Danke schon. I love her. Where? I must locate wife. Get out of the way, I must locate wife. To be honest, I can feel my love destiny connecting me with you. Maybe you're my Prince Charming here for Pricket. Kia! You know, with everything like her being absolutely rough and horrible, I would have tolerated more than this. Pricket states that she is a second-generation Red Queen. To put it into context, her scenes are, most covenants teach you skills or unlock unique stores, but with Pricket you can go on a date around the amusement park instead. There are various things to interact with. The first one is the cinema tent with a choice of 3 whole movies. The first depicts 2 people in a mental ward, from the perspective of a man who believes himself to be sane, but is extremely violent. As the man lashes out in rage, a neighboring patient's calming voice comes through. The neighbor is Edith Liddell. White. Liddell, she was a cowardly girl who barely spoke, with her having no memories outside of the mental ward. A feeling started to well in the movie's protagonist. Sympathy. Pity. Her mind is delicate, therefore the protagonist apologizes, calming down. They act like each other's anchors in a way, calming each other as they sit in their white rooms. They chat about her family, the outside world. The protagonist doesn't hate all women, but the whores around Ledwidge Town, according to him, deserve his hatred, deserve to be slaughtered. He will not let Edith see a world when it is in such a state, as they make a promise. Edith is the boss we fight in the mental ward, meanwhile the Wolfman protagonist is Jack the Ripper, a boss in the upper part of Ledwidge Town. His design is that of a wolf because in his own questline he is in a way a wolf in sheep's clothing. He pretends to be Sherlock Holmes, saving you on occasion, possibly getting this idea from the other mental ward patients who believe themselves to be fairy tale characters. The second movie follows on another familiar face, Victoria, as she tries to return to her succubi sisters after killing her master. As one of the eldest ones inquires question by question about what she's done, before asking why she wet with blood, Victoria admits that even if she understands that it's bad, she cannot suppress her thirst for violence. She just cannot understand what's the difference between bringing men to death and just killing them, the latter coming with more passion from her. Whether it's tradition or just what needs to be done, the sister denounces Victoria, telling her that she's taking path of a simple demon. But to Victoria that doesn't matter. She has liked the sister for quite some time. And the final one? The ruined reality was like a feverish nightmare. In the tranquility of Wonderland, he spent every day in peace. It was nice to enjoy fancy teas, and it was fun to think up elaborate poems and jokes, but more than anything, he delighted in reading never-ending fairy tales. Time passed unnoticed, and with the noon, their tea party for free began just like always. Not a day had passed without a tea party, always the same. Ever so curious little Alice, sharp-tongued black rabbit, and newcomer. He and he never could agree on anything, and the arguments often turned to quarrels with them. But as time went on, their quarrels bloomed into a deep understanding and friendship. Wonderland was not without those who would come to threaten it, like wicked Jabberwock and the tyrannical Red Queen. But together, the three weathered every storm. It was to be a wondrous dream, one to continue forevermore. But then, he and she fell in love and embraced each other. Even if I disappear somewhere far, far away, would you come to find me? The little girl timidly asked. Of course. It's a promise. In the moonlit library, the two of us exchanged the kisses of promise. And unbeknown to us, Black Rabbit saw it all from behind the shelf. This man chose to keep our Alice all to himself. Oh God, I have but one wish. He prayed, and by the time he realized that the tea party would never happen again, it was already too late. I'm crying? How strange. Why? The movie, maybe it was that sad. Welp, there's many good ways to cheer a lady up. Bobati, it's as if watching the movie reminded us about our promise to Alice, or the fact that we've been looking for her all this time. Our character thinks, I already have my dear Alice. Should I be doing this? You and I are quite similar, right? Souls existing in abundance, scrambling for any sort of control, and trying to satisfy uncontainable desires. Hey, doesn't it feel constraining? Why not sneak away, just like Prickett? To which I chose to reply that, one day, time to separate will come. After all, I'm not too keen on the image the memories are building of a teacher falling in love with a student and neglecting life. Affection at times is an unavoidable thing, but when it comes to cases like this, it's best to take it as a lesson and move on. While playing, I assumed that the memories work as a thematic parallel to what's happening in the story. This infinite chase of Alice, of something, of first love, while we neglect every other advance at us. That includes any steamy scenes with the heroines. Our character continuously ruminates about Alice. That isn't a factor you can escape. Even in guilty indulgence, throwing yourself on a reanimated corpse enemy reminds you of Alice. Everywhere I go, I am going to Alice. I turn to my friends and I say, Alice, and then I go, tin din, tin din, tin din, tin din, tin din, tin din, tin. Lorena's card game minigame, Strib High-Low, leads us to a scene where Lorena forces us to mutter the words that we love her more than Alice. The screen even glitches when we do. There must be a way to give up on the search. Some way. Since I don't like any other thematic parallels this creates. Welcome to Oxford Legally Distinct University. Here, there is a copy of the library. Why are there so many Alices? God damn it. With Hakuna Matata over here dead, a doll appears in the room. And another familiar location greets us past the university, with more people to meet later. And one of my favorite areas, in the game. And here we are at another dead end of a route. Another one of the terrors terrorizing Wonderland. Jub is here.
Just how many souls are you keeping in this body of yours? I'm so looking forward to gutting you.
Oh no, the bear was right. We can't trust women. Like, love. I love you.
Who's that guy?
Oh, finally, I'm on my Covenant recovery arc. Jub speaks about the madness saturating the country. She is happy about that, saying that everyone now must have gone crazy and died. And I quote, Kahoo! You see, she likes destroying the minds of the inferior and singing, saying it's not like it will drive you mad. She taunts us for the fact that we think about Alice so much, outright insulting us by saying that she might be our masturbation fantasy. She backtracks on the words and tells us that it might be better to forget our past and focus on the women in the present. Yes, please. Oh look, the better crazy woman is back. She is surprised to see us alive and now we can form a covenant with her. She, however, does not remember us like we do. The second familiar face here was actually Hein, one of the Black Trial members who you could have bought black souls from. He still sells souls, albeit it's a side hustle, because he's a conductor now. He turns around when you have fun with Victoria, but inevitably, even Victoria doesn't stop her mind from wandering back to Alice. And back to being insane. In the Academy's library, the doll now says, Little's doll, as in Alice's doll, from our memories. Ah, how wonderful it would have been if the two in love could remain together for a lifetime. Our story is complex, intertwined, it's difficult to describe, like the madness of stars. Be that as it may, there's no escape from change. The bells of the end echo throughout the world, accompanied by the rumbling of the earth. A man awakened under collapsed rubble. Outside, he saw blood rain from the sky and grotesque malformations fill the streets. Ah, of course, he must be seeing some sort of dreadful nightmare. This couldn't possibly be reality. But the man couldn't remember a thing. Not only about the scene before him, but even about who or what he was. It's dangerous here. Please, follow me. A young girl pulled on his arm, her hair golden, her eyes blue, in a blue and white apron dress. Not even understanding why, the man followed her trace. Led by the girl, the man escaped the nightmare and arrived into a dreamlike land. There, every animal shared the language with humans. Things that weren't were, and things that shouldn't be weren't. There was the land of dreams. Wonderland. The world for you. You should live with us in peace, forever and ever, mister. Now you think of love? After forgetting all of it for so very long? You had been spending your every waking moment thinking of your first love, yet never putting it into words. And yet, you embraced another and whispered fake love, his eyes so similar, the perfect distraction from the choking loneliness and hollowness of it all. The glittering night sky, the laughing stars, the love crossing social barriers. But the little girl forgot about dreaming, became an adult and married a man more appropriate for her station. As if in an attempt to abandon the memories of the past, all the letters spelling out the feelings for the little girl and presents became fuel for the flames. And the time goes on. Your life turned out to be astonishingly unastonishing. Now just an old woman lost in thought while peering into the night sky. Your son watching you in worry. Mother, you ought to moderate your observations. The night wind is bad for your body. I brewed some black tea. Do drink it. Thank you. Of course. But for now, I'd like to remain alone. The stars are awfully beautiful tonight, you see? Hargreaves was enthralled by the stars. The selfish god crawled closer. The world changes, and the fantastic tales which are meant to be over were about to begin once more. Here we see Big Sis Corpse Dragon, Jabberwock, Zooey Mama. Man, these last few covenants are expensive. And that's the last dead end. All that's left now is the room next to Pricket, where someone who wanted to see us awaits, where we find slave emperors and daddy longlegs.
You came to save me! Yay! As expected on my prince! Wait, where are you going?
She's still there when I'm saying, oh god. She also dies from one punch. And now to make the mistake of our lives, as she taunts us after we free her, about how she'll make more horrific fairy tales for us. Now, if we try to leave her, she tells us to wait and says, fighting all by yourself, handsome?
You've been fighting all alone until now, right? And this world is the very opposite of kind, isn't it? Nothing like the Lost Empire gave so much of my love to. Wasn't it a wonderful world? Yet another revalidation of my virtues.
As she gives us her ring once again, telling us not to lose it. Now, problem, we're level 200. Since the Rabbit Wonderland entrance now requires keys for a limited amount of rabbits, it is not the most optimal way to grind. For that we have the Chaos Dungeon, and Ash is reignited. mostly ashes reignited. Say hi to Mabel, the girl of nihility, and her realm of Shatranj, where things thrown away and left get claimed as if a museum. From Elma's fodder to familiar locations to some, to Leaf's unused fairy tales. But here you can quickly stock up on souls, black souls are the outer ones, usable items, weapons, and armor you might have missed. All by doing repetitive rooms where you find a lever and a door to the next floor, sometimes interrupted by a boss. And now, since the grind is done, the endings. After finally managing to kill Dina, we have the choice of making love to Alice or killing her. Making love will end up giving you a scene where the screen fades to white. Alice says it's time to return as we walk hand in hand. The twinkling of the stars rains upon the two, their glitter bright enough to sear an eye. It's hardly a blessing, filled with what appears to be envy and yearning. Sudden realization brings me to a halt. Why hadn't I grasped it until now? Where is Alice? Killing her ends in a similar way, our character asking if this is reality, and the game just ends. If you lower the sanity in the final room before the fight, it will begin to morph, the colored bears becoming the shovel and saying the lines that you'd hear from the three fairies in the first game, asking for a leaf to save them. At 0 sanity, the room is full of stabbed dolls, the doll next to the bed fallen over and the painting of the family covered in blood. Killing little sister Alice in this sanity leads her to say this.
Huh? What? You finally fixed your brains? You're such a killjoy. It's one thing if you tell me like a monkey in the heat, but now the toy feels like resisting? Is this a fucking joke?
Before insulting all we have done with her, here is the true her. No love for us. Each Alice you could select is a different boss fight, but in the end we kill her and soon a bunch more Alices appear. And that's it. The allegory of Dina being a mother separating her child from a teacher who likes her a bit too much disgusted me as I stepped into battle. Hell, currently I know what the memories mean, but at the time in my mind they were still running parallel thematically. A person forever wishing for their first love, neglecting themselves, and our character continuously remembering Alice. Most heroines asking us to forget. Maybe there is some hope if we do. We see the memories of Alice's life through the lens of our protagonist, so at the time I thought that this could be the Alice, and maybe the wonderland him and her created themselves was not what she desired. Maybe the life she led was good. And with that, from the top. I immediately turned the hints back on for the sake of my stupid ass, and secondly because the secrets of this game and the inbuilt ways to sequence break are actually incredible.
This is so fucking cool. Holy shit.
On the flip side, progression in this game is a bitch. Not only are there events you may encounter that increase progression, but walking into certain areas flipping a lever might also just inexplicably and without warning increase your progression, so check the torches often. Let's start with Bill first. Bill was actually a guy all along. Oh, so that's what Cheshire Cat meant. It seems that the serpent god's blood can make one an immortal undead. And of course, the snake god is just a little guy. Our very weird beast women harem doesn't go well, since Shisha and Dodo know each other. Yikes. I picked Dodo and my god. It's time to meet the gang of characters we missed out on last time. Firstly, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. One of them really doesn't like me, since they like each other so much, in fact, that they canonically ignore you for an hour. The two talk about a doctor named Miss Florence who is not here anymore, since she has turned into a beast. Outside of that, another memory of Alice being gifted a fairy tale, saying that she should repay Carol, and Carol simply replying, "I wish for nothing but for you to remain a charming little lady forever." Yuck. Things don't always go as hoped for. I thought you were learning, if only perfunctory. Alice? Ah, Alice, you came to visit my room again. And what about your classes? I hate studying history. What is the use of a book without pictures? Oh, I'm sure Mr. Robinson has prepared a very beneficial lecture for you. Nonsense! Your stories are more interesting, Teacher Carol. Hey, you'll tell me another wonderful tale today, right? Of course. But can I take a picture before we begin? Yep, make it a cute one. The sound of rapping on a wooden door. An uninvited visitor. The girl hiding in a hurry. Mr. Carroll, the dean has called for you. It was the notice of a sudden transfer. The father suspected an improper relationship between his daughter and the teacher. It was enough to tear the two apart. The father suspected, but the Cheshire cat is the final boss. And now, continuing on the path of the new companions, here's the Mad Hatter and her entourage. They mention Winterbell once again as the name of a tea, but outside of getting Hatter to join our covenant, we press on. Ironically, I reached this area right at progression 9. Go straight ahead and then kill. One should not be left alive ahead. Kill. I have a sneaking suspicion. Turns out, Jub has been flying around Wonderland making everyone mad. Well, all's well that ends well. Welcome to the sea, what is about to become the toughest area to my level 640 ass in the entire game. I came here to get the last covenant I require, but oh too bad, we need to find the carpenter after his ass went to the bottom of the sea, including but not limited to the bratty clam and God's odd fish, an abomination that you need to outrun or it kills you. But that doesn't matter, since the normal enemies I can't even touch. But with all my power, or lack thereof, I press past the Metal Gear ship and the land where you cannot see. Get me out of here! I pulled through to do what has to be one of the best examples of how much this game allows you to get away with underleveled. Excluding level 1 runs. The Deep Sea at Night has enough damage to one-shot you even when you guard and without a chant. And no, it does not count as an insta-kill, so he cannot be throttled by a singular ring. Your dodge has a 75% chance of working if you have no evasion, so getting that to 100% and dodging before he attacks is the strategy. And you see a guy pull up to you. In the one hand he holds a machine gun, in another one a pirate's handgun. He's wearing a green large cap as if he's Robin Hood, and he's wearing a fucking pink dress. The issue is, no damage. For that we have Madness, the status effect that sucks 50% of your health each turn in exchange for doubling your magic and attack stats, then applying every grease in the game to my weapon for more damage and... Oh God, the previous Black Souls games was mechanically challenging, but this is like fucking... I learned 2 new mechanics through that fight.
This is like fucking in a porn game, is crazy.
What I didn't know is that this is just the beginning. What I have currently dabbled in is DLC 1, and I have yet to touch an entire combat mechanic. But that's besides the point, since we have another covenant who's really keen on calling us her prince and making kids. The nice knight outside was keeping her safe. Oh no. Did she just fucking descend into the carpenter's backyard one day and he decided to dedicate his life to protecting her, abandoning all of his previous work and walrus? Oh no. With that tiring experience, time to fall into Node's lap and tell her that his hunt for Alice has drained us, and that we want to give up. Come on, this is it. This is the thematic parallel to the memories. This is a good ending. Moving on and not being caught up with the love in the past. I understand. If that is what you desire, then I shall grant you serenity. Now please, follow me. Your daughters are waiting. In just a few moments, they will be born. Now don't avert your eyes. And a happy breeding season will soon begin once again. What did I just witness? Let's take a little detour. It will come as no surprise to most of you, but both Lewis Carroll and Alice Liddell were real people, just like Brothers Grimm. Charles Ludwig Dodgson, also known as Lewis Carroll, is the author of Alice in Wonderland, and also a historical enigma in many ways. Some say that Queen Victoria, while she was a princess, liked Alice in Wonderland so much, she sent a letter to Carroll asking for his next book. You see, he is known for many things besides being an author, from being a teacher to being a photographer to being a mathematician. His next book was a math book. He sent the princess a math book. 𝙍𝙚𝙙𝙙𝙙 denies doing any of that, but for the record going forward, he denies absolutely everything. This game has a lot of cool nods to not only his writing, but his real-life inspirations and legacy as well. The Grand Ripon Cathedral is a real place. The artworks there are quoted to be an inspiration to some parts of his work. Billingsgate Fish Market is also a real location connecting to a place known as Lovat Lane, which is home to the Walrus and the Carpenter pub, named after the poem that Tweedledee and Tweedledum say in the book. Oh my god, it makes so much sense now. There's even a Lewis Carroll bar upstairs. So even the moments I thought were hints to abandon Alice were actually references to the many controversies Lewis Carroll had. To preface all this, the 1800s were a different time. In today's time, we have a bunch of social norms and laws that don't give the chance for freaks to bring harm to people around them. But in the past, when people weren't bombarded with everything bad that happens every day, a lot more was allowed to pass. And so, in 1856, Dean Henry Liddell arrived at Christ Church at Oxford Academy, bringing with him his entire family, including his 3 daughters, Lorena Liddell, Edith Liddell, and Alice Liddell. And soon, the whole family became friends with Charles Ludwig 𝙍𝙗𝙙. It is widely assumed that Alice Liddell was the inspiration for Alice in Wonderland, albeit once again Enigma Man strikes again, saying the while having a bunch of references to her full name in his works. A bunch of names of people he knew in a bunch of the works. 𝙍𝙗𝙙 often took the family members out on boat rides, told, wrote, and illustrated various tales for the daughters, and took photographs of people in the family's garden, as it had nice greenery and good natural light. During one of these boat trips is when he came up with the story of Alice in Wonderland. Alice begged him to write it down, so he did and gifted it to her, and with encouragement from another family and their children, 𝙍𝙗𝙙 sought publication. But of course, all things don't last forever, and there came a rift in the friendship of the family and Lewis Carroll, an undocumented one, with a bunch of his diary pages being ripped by his family members after his death, leaving a bunch of information unknown to history. We, however, are still able to speculate based on rumors. A common theory is that the rift happened because he proposed to Alice. Here, the hellhole begins. There's a summary of the diary pages that were destroyed based on the statements of the aunts who destroyed them, that Mrs. Liddell told 𝙍𝙗𝙙 about gossip going around perpetrating to the Liddell family governess and his relationship with Ina, presumably the oldest of 3 sisters, leaving historians guessing that this could have been the reason for the break. The issue is, Lorena is the name of both the mother and the daughter. However, there's a letter from Lorena, the daughter, opposing even that, and looping back around into him being affectionate towards Alice. Somewhere in this loop of controversy, there was the theory that Lorena had fallen for Lewis Carroll, henceforth the scene in Black Souls where she asked Grimm to tell her that he loves her more than Alice. The same goes for the inspiration of the memory relating to the photos. A lot of 𝙍𝙗𝙙's photography subjects were children. What's this? It's 2015 and the BBC is here, and they're here to make a documentary, and they found a photograph of what was assumed to be Alice's sister Lorena, and it's a full frontal, and it had Lewis Carroll written on the back with a pencil. Oh my god, he was into... The pencil text was written by an unknown hand. Handwriting doesn't match. The photo was in the archives of Musée Cantini. How did it get to the last person who had it? I don't know. Everyone interviewed in the documentary was not warned about the picture or its use to be a narrative. Some theorize that it is a medical photograph showcasing a girl who has scoliosis, since even by Victorian standards she is too old to have a picture like this taken by a man. What about his other art? Well, 𝙍𝙗𝙙 denies having any interesting kids. You have to understand, as well as that, trends like kids in rags existed at the time. Even royalty like Queen Victoria and Prince Albert had such pictures taken. Those pictures often also attributed to 𝙍𝙗𝙙. In the Victorian days, hell, even today in art, nudity is used as an allegory for purity and was not considered weird at all. Is the sheer volume of the art weird? Yes. But there are records of him showing interest in adult women, married or otherwise even, adult entertainment in general, leading to another theory that the torn diary pages are to keep the stories of the extra saucy marital breakup ventures under wraps. Jesus Christ. Both the documentary and Black Souls chose to portray him as a closeted, shy, problematic person. For a fictional Lewis Carroll for a video game to tell the narrative the game wants to say is fine. And that is ignoring the fact that in real life, he's one of the funniest motherfuckers ever. He wrote an apology letter for missing one of the photo shoots he was supposed to be the photographer of. Man described falling to his knees in a field of sheep, asking his friend Bobkins, whose name he spelled with a different letter of the alphabet each time, for today's date, and crying profusely in realization that he forgot the time, the sheep surrounding him to comfort him, as he fainted and had to be brought back by cart. God, I fucking wish I was as suave with my employers as this guy. As a video game YouTuber, I can't cover or even be right about half of these statements when there's entire groups of historians who argue about what the fuck is up with Lewis Carroll. It is inevitable that in turbulent times, as social standards changed, such a prolific figure would have a bunch of dubious claims and myths passed around. These claims made this impenetrable net of mysteries that make it borderline impossible and annoying to learn what really caused the separation of the Little family and Dogson. All in all, whatever the case, his work is great and an inspiration to many. And now with this context, we can give the memories a chronological order. The boat ride where the tale was conceived, the gifting of the book to Alice, the photograph incident, then the Christmas party, the look at what Alice's life had become, and then awakening a new man, reborn with no memories, about to be brought to Wonderland, where he would spend all his days at the tea party, falling for Alice over again, only for the Black Rabbit to pray to God. And then the first game happens. Now the requirements for the next two endings? Talk to Red Hood 10 times. Red Hood? Huh? Turns out I have to New Game Plus again, so I can start off with 0 sanity and go to the boss with no book that I've completely avoided purely because why increase my progression for nothing by doing the boss first? How was I supposed to figure that out? Going to that boss first with 100 sanity, that's how. But as angry as I was already powerful enough to speed through the entire game.
Grim, so this is where you were. Didn't expect to find you so quickly.
She's not really here to help us though. She's here once again to take the mastermind's head. But of course, when asked to come with her, yeah. Red Hood plays a type of foil to Cheshire Cat, sometimes directly speaking about what Cheshire Cat said, like talking about the tale of kids playing slaughtering being too cruel. There's no reason for us to worry for our safety since we're undead. We'll live unless something very terrible happens.
The outside world is in a miserable state. Matted mobs and people turned beasts. The balance is crumbling apart, and those with power dictate what's right. And yet that is still somewhat better than this world.
Even listening to her, our single-track mind is still the same. Red Hood has known this feeling. This is their domain. They probably already know of her intrusion, and yet they do nothing. Red thinks, is she being guided by their whims or actually doing what she wants? At the university, Red gets a nostalgic feeling. She does not remember why and questions it herself. This time, however, I murder Jub. Oh my god, I have been hopping off the stairs in the rabbit hole to lose sanity since forever because I forgot to buy photos last run. Are you fucking with me? Seemingly, Lindamea has tried chasing after us even after we left the first Dreamland. All gods? Bastard. Red Hood left Poro to do housekeeping, and so 10 conversations with Red Hood have passed. We grab the memories, get Leaf's ring, and remember the snowman hint. All our companions now stand in our way, in the forms we would see while at 0 sanity or fighting them, some raging endlessly into the void. Dodo, I'm trying to be dramatic and you stop playing your clown music. Others noticing that this whole world is a lie, screaming at a god wishing for themselves to be different, screaming at us, telling us that their wishes are like bubbles that disappear, touched by us. I feel so bad. Damn you, game. As we slowly crawl past each one. Walrus is the only one who stands in our way firmly, telling us that we mustn't escape the dream. Past her is the area we see in Ending B, a fleshy version of the library filled with broken eggs. The teddy bear lay open, offering its services still. Good evening, Lord Grimm. My position is that of your support. Even now, that hasn't changed. The time has finally come. Wonderland is losing all of its form and beginning to collapse in on itself. It seems you're about to awaken from the dream. The collapse is proof of it. We are the masterpiece that Mary Sue made, an amalgam of various creators, a body that surpasses humanity. Yet we're not a god, but having the qualities to become the Crawling One's husband. The Crawling One proposed a proposition to Node, a plan to make offspring of the Great Ones. What we've been playing was an infinite cycle of copulation. The kids born this way would become the characters in the other iteration of the world, like a Habsburgian, ever-turning, never-ending process. Lord Grimm, I will not stand in the way of your awakening, but the Crawling One won't accept this. You were its aim from the very beginning. What it wants is an eternally repeating love story that would never come true. Its emotions, behavior, mentality are beyond my comprehension. However, for you to be made its toy, that is most disagreeable for me. My beloved Lord Grimm, everything is only a transient dream. The envoy of reality is bound to rescue you. And now the final walk begins, as we spot the said envoy of reality, Red Hood.
The White Rabbit was here just now. Where did she go? I see. So we were summoned.
So we were. This must be what they call fate!
Marianne tells Red that she's gotten pretty strong for a failure, asking what worthless emotions keep her going. Red replies calmly, saying Mary Sue like a moth is hurrying to her death. As Mary Sue turns to us, seeing that we kept her ring and saved her, saying that we surely can't wait to begin the tale once again. If you're an absolute psychopath and decide to stand with Mary Sue, Red genuinely asks why, while Mary gives her spiel about true love and enemy, which leads us to fight Red Hood.
I knew that it's too late for me to live a normal life, and yet, after meeting with you, I still clung to a faint hope. If only I hadn't trusted anything from the very beginning, then your words wouldn't have hurt me now.
Hey, Graham! How about we finish her off together? There's no need for a doll like her anymore. Let's break her! Let's break her! Masterful execution! Well done. Good boy.
Mary Sue tells us more about the Crawling One. She learned of it when Mother introduced it as its new husband. Something was off about it. It had the same smell as Mary Sue, but it was different. Or as Mary Sue puts it,
But it was completely different. You know, with just a word, it's the kind of guy who'd sit in a corner staring at ants. The Crawling One would never smash a Jenga tower.
it has a weird obsession with humanity, and even when showing itself to the other ones, always had its face painted over black. Mary Sue is pissed that that thing usurped her work. After all, there's nothing more tempo-breaking than a mastermind suddenly crashing in without any foreshadowing. Time to overwrite this world with Leaf's genius tales. Onwards. There stands the singular Alice, with her face painted over. Leaf is a little scared of it and ushers us to kill it. The fight is suspiciously easy. Suspiciously easy. Mary Sue has not a bonus sense in that body of hers, telling us that we should go back to our love nest and make a bunch of cruel and wonderful stories together for all eternity. Little does she know, the cogs in her head are turned. Just as Wonderland was the ants for the Crawling One to observe, we became that now, in a loop of copulation and strangulation for millennia, as the Crawling One stares from above. In 4 years of sudden, unexpected motions, we became an avatar of fear for Leaf, as the Crawling One laughs. Picking Red leads Leaf to rage. Leaf says that she won't even need 2 seconds to slaughter us, since she was a god. Past tense.
Ah, Mother. Now I understand very well the feelings of a parent who can't understand their children. A world where things don't go as they want can rot for all I care! What is it? What is wrong with you? Is it not I who made you? Why would you disobey me?
Children don't get to choose their parents.
I felt empathy for her, like for the moment when Grimm chokes Mary Sue. To be honest, deserved. We kind of saw the horrible endings with everybody that happens. Like, she was probably lying at the end, to be honest, again. She's just like this. Since she's, even after this, she's still just an asshole.
The cruel game you made ends here. We have places to go.
happy ending for the two. That ain't happening, you idiots! I mean, just so you know, let me tell you. I switched it up so that Red Hood won't live past 20. So even if you get out of here alive, she won't even last a year. Get that? And you know what else? Grim. Nothing good for you either. All the heroines who come near you will be dropping like flies. It's a feature of your constitution, the tragic hero. So pitiful, so heartbreaking. Why was he born into this cruel world?
We still need to deal with the mastermind.
It seems Mary Sue is really dead this time. We stop right before the gates for one final talk. Red Hood had already found out about our dispositions. She just never found the time to tell us.
We both defiled our souls over and over. Just how many people have we killed so far with regard to how good or evil they were? I've already lost count. There is no doubt whatsoever that countless grudges have piled upon our backs. And yet, your hands are so very warm. The one who created me isn't the mad god, nor is it Mother. Only you. It was only you, Grim.
Beyond the door awaits the riverside we started the game at, with Alice standing there. Alice Little, our beloved Alice.
Yes, exactly. Your beloved Alice. I'm deeply grateful for your hard work. You have gone through so many terrible experiences, haven't you? And yet, no despair could make your spirit, and overcoming it all, you arrived here. That proves the strength of your soul, and more than anything, the power of love. Love is by no means something that easily expires. The deeper you thought about me, the deeper your love grew, until it turned into a mad pursuit you couldn't deny yourself. And yet, you wouldn't continue to feed a caught fish. And every drunk rush comes to a sobering end. Once obtained, love loses nearly all of its value.
Wonderland is the pure embodiment of the idea that once attained, love turns to nothing, as we chase Alice, never to truly have her, courting eldritch gods after eldritch god along the way, as they play roles of demi-human beings, an infinite theater for copulation, an infinite show for the crawling one. This belief that love not attained is the most beautiful is like a spit in the face of the dread seen in the memories. This whole world upheld by strict rules of gods playing their roles no matter what. The gods fascinated by Mary Sue's creations flock to Wonderland, believing their chosen concepts of love. If you imprison Kuti, the secret princess that the carpenter was protecting, you learn that she ran away to come to Wonderland in hopes of finding true fairy tale love, finding a prince, questioning if her children made this way or even of love to begin with, as she tries to escape, hurling insults at us and Node as the rule keeper of this garden has to put her out. She states that this conceptually horrific act was for us, because Kuti insulted us. What claims to be Alice Little gives one last invitation. You join in unity, the cogs in your head are turned. There's only thoughts of adoration and repeated pleasure as this goes on, again and again and again. Gears turn in your head, a pain impossible on a limb you don't have assaults you. Alice is no longer here, only the sounds continue. Even the thought of what we're actually joined with causes pain. We're being loved by this. We hate it. No, not in the slightest. We welcome it. We love it. Red calls Poro to come as he speaks now, as various Alices, either parts of the crawling one or its offspring, assemble. If you lose, the ant farm is over. The ants have gotten out and bitten their god's ankles, no longer fulfilling their wishes. There is no need for the ant farm anymore. There is no need for choice anymore. There's only the god and its given purpose. Copulate, happily, infinitely, with whichever Alice in whatever version you desire forever. For a boss fight, it's quite a simple check of basic mechanical knowledge of breakable and unbreakable chance, blocking and turn management.
Oh god, what a fight. What a good fight.
If you win, Red affirms that it's finally croaked. With its creator dead, the dream world is collapsing, as we are forced to run. A rock falls, separating us from Red Hood and Poro, as the three Alices we can choose from at the start appear. Red staying behind to fight them. And as we move forward into a white void, we find...
Who are you? I don't know you. Scary. It's also scary. Mr. Carroll, teacher, save me.
And so his soul, the essence of one of the countless offers inside her body, leaves to greet her, calms her, and leads her away. And then we wake up. A completely normal home, in reality. As we walk into the rainy street, Red Hood slowly, bleeding, alone, walks towards us, arm gone.
Grim, everything is finally over.
And then we find ourselves back at the library, not at the riverside with Alice. Something is different. After all, we already did that this loop.
Mark! That fucking cat is back!
Meowning! You found the truth and yet still here? There's something left to do, you say? Good grief. Early quitter as ever, are we? Still, let me venture to declare something. The story is never over. Even if you struggle through the pages all to the back cover, just turn it over all the way and you're back to the start. Every time you awaken, the actors will die and dance and chat and lose their minds. Really, it's all quite insane, don't you think?
Cheshire Cat says she was saved by the White Rabbit, and was repaying the favor by playing the creature that had to tear us apart from fake Alice.
The gears are almost there now. Meow. The Cheshire Cat too visited missing time and was made not to exist. It's because everyone loves you. The humble, the tolerant, the lecherous you. So I'm glad I got to talk with you at the end. Not sure how many times I've already said that before though. The Leak-Feet Briar Cat will do very well in the next loop. Is repeating what you really want, meow? Everyone's brains are nests for gears. Sanity withers and insanity becomes common sense. Start and finish, front stage and backstage. No tale goes on forever, there's always the end. And so from loneliness, from habit, people repeat them over and over again, meow. Expecting too much is only a sure way to be disappointed. You'll never get to truly connect with a real lover. You should understand that much at least, meow. Meow. Everyone is only trying to be human, and every last one of us is so clumsy at love, we try to skip over the A's and B's and jump right into the C's, meow. Meow. It's only natural, meow. Even wearing human skin, an outer one won't understand human feelings, not in a lifetime.
Cheshire Cat does have a point. Are the outer ones trying to be human? Are they just pretending to continue their existence? How much of what we've been told and the affections we've been given have been a lie? Finally, she tells us that if we're looking for another conclusion, we should look for a little boat at Carroll River.
You have been registered as my master. Recognized. I'm model Alice 02-D. Please use my designated name. Doll, do you want to stop the gears? Then please visit Winterbell.
I guess we're heading to Winterbell. We're now moving on to the DLCs, but even without them, this game is big. It's massive. So massive in fact that while writing the script I have had a month where every day I woke up to a cutscene I have not yet seen in my YouTube recommended. I feel like I'm barely scratching 60% of the game in this video, and that's probably an overstatement. From all the character interactions, secrets, character lore, an entire secret boss fight, a lot of it's stuff I didn't figure out on my own. So this is like a call to arms to tell you that this game is worth playing, and even with the popularity of this game, it is in no way cleanly documented. So if you've got no morals, enjoy an insane amount of trial and error in combat, and have a lot of time, I'd recommend hopping in yourselves. And with that, the theater of horror rises its curtains once again. It's as always 6 short stage plays of stories from the deepest crevices and fears of the mind. Some of them may even be real. And for the world's first time, the final act is written by a newcomer. That's right, not Lord himself, but a stranger putting a twist on a fairy tale you might have heard of. And with that, enjoy the bloody spectacle, full of gore and screams. Winter Bell time. Yeah, no. Mabel. The second DLC is something we dabbled in, the roguelike game mode, and Ashes Reignited. This chess realm Chantarage holds a lot of secrets, from the chess matches that Mabel had with Prickett and the White Queen, to signs about loneliness, to the library.
Mary Sue's ability to change was a power unique to her. Wielding it, she crafted and maintained many gardens. As vexing as it is, I'm obliged to admit her genius as a creator.
Seemingly, Baphomet only came to Elysium to usurp Leaf and take the garden to herself, only to become a puppet. This book seems to be from Mary Sue's perspective of her picking an offer to make the protagonist. It truly makes it seem that she made us on a whim.
After Red and White Queen stripped Mary Sue of fancy, after this unique power was stolen from her, they remade the ability to change itself into a new Great One, so that neither of them could use it to trick one another. The Theater of Darkness, Grand Goino, a mechanical god existing to be used by the selfish god, unexisting now. It exists in the distant past, in the Winterbell Castle. It sleeps together with the crown. She and I were so alike. It was as if I were looking into a mirror. She was born with the same eyes, same hair, same figure as I. This world doesn't need to have the same girl. Seeing me being dragged into gears and crushed, I have frightened my eyes. Mary Sue possesses the Lost Empire, Elysium, the Crawling One, Wonderland, and every Great One has their own garden they made. The new garden, reconstructed by gathering the great many souls and sceneries discovered from those and piling them all on top of one another in chaos. This chess world Shantarage. They mock my jewel box as Chaos Dungeon! Can you not understand how much more dazzling it is compared to your worthless little gardens? It's not funny how mimicking human forms, you embrace the emotion called jealousy without worry? The White Queen views this garden as nothing more than a toy box and moose pieces only to fill for vacant actors, despite expecting even newborns to prolong her worthless drama of chasing love. In the end, she's a star waste that tumbled from the throne. She has no way of realizing the charm of my jewel box, unrivaled in the whole galaxy.
Mabel is a bit of a hypocrite, seemingly being insulted by other gods' outlooks on her garden. She is trying to be distant from us, trying not to make the same, what she considers to be a mistake, embracing the idea of becoming human, losing the incomprehensible nature of an outer one, and drowning in emotion. And at the time, yeah, I agreed with her. After learning of my Habsburgian legacy here, I was kinda disgusted with almost every covenant in the game. Just how much suffering has the sand farm of a breeding chamber brought us and to random strangers. Node isn't that happy that we talked to Mabel. You met with her, haven't you? Yes, I recognize that scent, and I warned her not to get involved. I'm sure she must have unashamedly broken promises and told you many lies, isn't that right? Despite Mabel being the oldest, she was exiled from Cosmos, as she indulges in her immortality and laziness, like an infant collecting toys. Note says that Mabel has no understanding of the human heart, therefore her collection is really poor. It is a roguelike game mode after all. Mary Sue's work has affected many great ones, everyone wants to become a writer, and so the gardens will continue to multiply. Surely, nobody would be able to live happily in worlds crafted by selfish gods. And so, the boss of Depth 9, the old king of chess, begins. The most important mechanics in the DLCs that I have not touched upon is the fact that you can switch weapons mid-combat with no consequence. Since each weapon has unique, cool, and often very specific skills and effects, the meat of the DLCs truly becomes your understanding of the game's mechanics and the toolset under your belt, and of course, with the massive tinge of trial and error. It wouldn't be a Dom Recommends game otherwise. I died, and you will die. You will die a lot from this point on. One mistake will spiral you to the start of the fight, and there are times when you cannot do anything. Even becoming immortal for 3 turns may not save you. But with enough saves coming and putting all the puzzle pieces together, it is really satisfying overcoming each of the bosses.
Oh my! So the king lost. And I even troubled myself with arranging her a rematch against Grimm.
She says that her creation is nothing in comparison to us, Mary Sue's masterpiece. She threatens to collapse the chess world, saying that she should be angrier since the Goat of 1,000 Young was her favorite, but it seems that we have taken that position. If we so desire, since us and Mabel are some of the few that can traverse gardens freely, we could slip away. But we refuse, with Mabel once again putting herself down for it. But we won, so rewards are in order. She will now show us Cosmos, the realm of the gods.
No great one can escape the fate of ruin, never to prosper. The creations decay as time passes, and eventually, great ones lose their cults and become forgotten as great old ones. As countless stars vanish, scrambling not to tumble from their thrones, great ones set the gardens they themselves created for aggression. Some to wield their authority, some to force their existence to be recognized. Gardens collide with gardens, and the final war between great ones breaks out. The souls of creation slaughtered without end finally return into cosmos. The conclusion of it all is awakening of the idiot, a phenomenon which erases all that exists in cosmos in an instant. Everything ends, and what remains is the world of nothingness. There, nothing can be experienced. There, nothing can be created. You cannot go from it anywhere, and all alone. You can only gaze into the infinity of nothingness.
It seems that inevitably, as gardens and the outer ones clash via whatever means they see fit, from infiltration like the Goat of 1,000 Young to whatever clashing gardens means, something will awaken. That means the end of everything. Mabel teases us about whether the facts she's saying are true, since the White Queen didn't believe her. Nevertheless, these events will occur, unless we can prevent the final war. Mabel ushers us to make our own garden and join the battle. But we don't have the power to create. Sooner or later, the load of black souls inside of us will become too much to bear, and they will explode the vessel. That moment is our only chance to gather the souls and return them each to go to their place. Mabel says she'd help us with the task. Since we got here, awakening from the dream should be easy. Little does she know. No, it's not gonna be easy. I can't even beat her other challenge. This RPG game, to no one's surprise, has a fucking boss rush. After not thinking to save scum in the roguelike game mode at all, my mental state was at an all-time low. God, I feel so bad. There's this enemy called Lust Demon Satyr who was in the previous game, and all of his skills are named like, oh yeah, I'm... And I no longer see the skill name because I one-shot him. It's depressing. Bro, they should let you save scum the boss rush. After all, this place has such fun mechanics like Zoroing you twice, wheel, and the fact that in organizing skills I put a lot of tools in my disposal in storage, that they were mandatory. And for all that, we get to fight the girl herself, Mabel. The fight is a choose-your-own-adventure, and by that I mean nuke or die. As for the reward... And now I'm ready to beat the shit out of the final DLC. Welcome to the Crimean Nursing Graveyard, which we reach in a coffin, appropriate for the Bloodborne-inspired area. You see, the crawling one thought it would be really funny not only to turn a child that almost drowned named Ugug into a hedgehog, but also to turn the only doctor abducted to these lands into a furry. In this area, we get to learn such fun facts like I am fucking stupid and that I should read messages. Oh, every hint said murder or regret, and I see why everybody is now chasing me. Not only is the gameplay tense, since almost everything in this area and their grandma have Requiem and deal percent based damage, even before the even more nerve-wracking boss combat begins, the game actively tries to make you shit your pants. The furry is Florence, as in Florence Nightingale. She established the mental ward back in Ludwig Town, and this place right here. And I feel really bad for her. Not only the infinite never-ending patience, but the nature of saving them being impossible, to the point where they experiment with injecting god blood as their only option, resulting in what we see here. Combine all that with Lingerina, an angel that comes to save patients from their suffering while avoiding Florence, and you have a combo of death. Fun fact, talking to Lingerina here sets your difficulty to the max amount. And of course, the jumpscare monster has a PTSD floor in the building. An infinite battlefield with immortal undead soldiers, eternally locked in war and free tile movement patterns. To force you to do movement puzzles, just equip the Tweedle Twins. I sure wonder why am I dying? At the end of this battlefield, we find a graveyard, as the spirit, now crying, walks towards us. We grabbed the final spark. And then we wake up. The dream of the battlefield seemingly is one of the dreams here that leads patients mad, but it is also thematically adjacent to Florence's mission and life here, a never-ending struggle to save anybody she can. In it, there's hope. Hope that there is an end to the onslaught of patience, to the infinite war. And there is something, some sort of happiness and comfort at the end, for at least the people she can save. And with that, if DLC 2 was a nudge to check out all of the mechanics that we might have ignored, DLC 3 is the test, because each boss has special rules that get thrown at you at the start of combat. That information and the hints outside of the boss door is all you get. What are the optimal skills for which boss, and what sort of gotcha moments do they have? That remains for you to figure out via pure trial and error, to create a perfectly executed combination of turns that will bring the boss to its knees. And my god, am I loving it. This definitely isn't for everybody. There are things that the game outright doesn't tell you and you're left to intuit them, and hope to god that something beforehand made you realize what they mean, as well as the UI just being dog shit. There is no grace period to fucking up. Go Gadget Sleep Dust Mega Charge Blast while you're napping like a baby in the crib. Okay, I need the Sleep Resist Ring or the Set of the Abyss for this. Unless you were very vigilant in understanding what certain weapons and items did, looking up hints at this point is also a good idea, since once again, this game is fucking massive. Rinse and repeat until you pull through. Past here is another boss, and my path back to the bonfire is still fucked. Florence recognizes that we're undead and that our body has been altered by the outer ones, just like hers. Our disease is grave. Our being will drag not only the people, but the world, everything to its end and ruin it. She won't declare this incurable, but we would have to accept staying here. Too bad, Florence. Everything dies if my ass doesn't decimate the gardens. So...
My dream is to eradicate all illnesses from this world. I'll never abandon a patient. And I'm not so irresponsible as to ditch everything and hope for death. On this body and soul I pledge. I will fight.
Florence is fine until she starts talking to God, which makes your healing skills and items kill you, including the ones that increase your max HP like Girl Scent and the Knight's Pride. We learned that the hard way. Besides that, your attack and magic gets set to 1, so the only way to beat her is to use percent and set damage amount skills. Done. Oh, that was tough. And with that done, she begs not to be harmed as she wants to continue her work. Black Souls 2 has been very good with its scenes, them being most of the time completely optional and voluntary, something that the player chooses to do rather than unavoidable coom on every level up. But here, in my case, I've only got 2 choices. I'd have a passive option if I didn't miss out on a short NPC questline in my playthrough, but I choose the option that keeps Florence alive. She, having always felt alone, fighting this insurmountable battle, turned into a beast, is made into a mess of confusion, as she clings to us, telling us not to toss her aside. Maybe in a desperate attempt to stop the curse Kurisu wrote on us from breaking out. In my naivete, I thought she'd live after this and move on. Little did I know, the curse, the constitution of the tragic hero Kurisu wrote for us, is working in full action. Lingerina knows of our predisposition and suffering. With her ideal, she fully embraces the idea of killing us to stop the pain caused by the curse, saving countless souls. Yet, she is incapable to kill us, and well, she's crazy. Knowing the never-ending suffering Florence brings to others by trying to cure them, and seeing her in this broken state, Lingerina goes and finishes her off. Thus, the Crimean nursing ground falls into its final rest. Next, we wake up in a cell and our new neighbor doesn't even look at us. He logged himself in here to write. When asked about us wanting to go outside, he asks, "Aren't we already outside? Is the noise of the gears not enough? Go out and yell at them, see all that does." God, what a prick. I hope we never see him again. Outside in the snowfields, we're greeted with a message saying, "Strive for a good future no matter what." Thanks message. Before finding a blonde girl named Gerda who's searching for a boy her age named Kai. I am so bad at following instructions. The next lad on the list is Carbonara, the ghost hunter. Jesus Christ, can we stop meeting egotistical writers? They name various mysteries like the Wind of Winterbell and disappearing unicorns. The turmoil here was caused by a fight in between the lion and the unicorn. One of them shall become the ruler of Winterbell, since in Winterbell's frozen castle sits the abandoned crown. The crown is said to fulfill any desire of its wearer. The lion's faction is all about power ruling over the weak, much like the outside world we heard about from Red. While Eunice the unicorn states that there aren't a lot of males here, she wishes to bring equality and to stop the horrors that the lions have been up to. The messages give some foreshadowing about the rewards from the lion being better, but I still pick the unicorn, because Layden would snap me like a twig. Now a cog blocks the other path, while one unicorn ushers us to be a little faster. At this point, I had forgotten that turning human again is a mechanic, and that killing bosses gives me back my humanity. Unlike me, however, the DLC is fully conscious of it. Just don't fall off the chin. Oh motherfucker. Beating him wasn't that hard. The issue was the basic enemy behind him, and at that point I went, he's a nightmare spirit. Why bother? So I skipped him. I cannot keep talking about every boss in this DLC even if I want to, but let me have this one. The Wind of Winterbell is a boss I've literally lost sleep to. You start the fight looking at his toes before he fades the screen to white. Then after a turn or a couple you meet him at eye level. You die. There are hints in this area about putting on an exploration ring we get in the base game. No fall damage. Hell, one might put it to walk on the chain, but the game makes you panic by summoning this asshole, making you take it off and then possibly forget about it. Canonically, in the middle of this fight, the boss tosses you into the air and you die to fall damage. I remember that a ring negating that exists while brushing my teeth before heading to bed, and then I killed it in 2 turns before it could do anything. I feel like this is the quintessential Black Souls experience. Good job, Karnaki, you totally saved me. This also means I beat a boss. Again. Oh, for fuck's sake, just do it to me. Trying to find my way off of the roofs of the castle town, I found what I thought to be the answer, only for...
It is I have come to hunt you down and rebuild the Black Trial.
Yeah, no, Miranda's a ghoul now and Hein wants to be a conductor.
Silence! We both may be undead, but your tales are at the bottom of my trope tier list.
This was the hardest fight in the DLC for me. Not for the dark damage, not for the easily counterable crits, but for the pure amount of bullshit Lindamea is capable of. The beefy part of this fight is the end of Phase 2, where both you and Lindamea become immortal, and you're forced to run down the clock with you surviving and Lindamea at 0 HP. The issue? Everything this fucker does. He can stun, he will break your guard, he will inflict so many status effects your ass will not see what is coming, and every goddamn reset takes you back to having to wait out the goddamn 20-turn clock, with one failure in phase 1 or 2, sending you back to the start.
So we finish off the hearse whips.
I'm gonna be in the fucking hearse before I finish this fucking fight. Lindamea threatens Red Hood and tells us that he'll re-establish the Black Trial.
And don't forget, for as long as the realm you're in is a garden, from its every sharp corner, I'll appear to hunt.
Outside of that, this is the 87th fight for the crown. The lion and the unicorn finished all the cake. Is that like a statement? Or a name of a show? Like an act? And so, at the gates of the frozen castle stands Leiden, telling us that she'll take everything as tribute before calling Eunice an exile, even if Eunice said she was close to the White Queen. Eunice joins at our side, saying that people are happier when enclosed and given direction rather than in anarchy. There really was no good choice here. And so, we beat her up. That's it. Barely any gimmick. She just falls over. With that, Winterbell will come to peace, and we will be rewarded our knighthood. We can ask for more of a reward though. After a JOI-ass seed with no touching or skinship whatsoever, my conclusion was,
I should have taken the souls.
At least we can add that to the tag list. Oh, she's trying to stab me. Oh, we're betrayed again. Is this what the messages about the rewards at the end of the road were? Yes. You see, Eunice never saw us as an ally. She is a man-hating feminist who murders all men, and her country of equality is for women only. We are God's blunder. Haha, little does she know. She hates all men, and women who like men. And this dialogue exists. Eunice as a character, and this entire arc, at least for me, is extremely underwhelming. This entire plotline isn't a plotline. It's a hero hey video. Comparatively, she is one of the characters that places most of her personality forth in an obvious manner, yet she's really shallow, both in her reasoning and what she does. Even as a villain, we're supposed to only hate. Anyways, Mabel, shut her up. Thank you. Mabel will be waiting for us just ahead. I chose to let Eunice go, but she did feign being our companion for a bit. Lo and behold, Leaf's curse is once again in full action, as her comrades burn her at the stake, leaving us to continue where Mabel awaits. Beyond the frozen castle door lies the kingdom of eternal winter, Winterbell. The White Queen has already abandoned her country, though the country still isn't fully abandoned. The crown we've been hearing about has been making good use of it. We know the crown by the name of Grand Guignol. How come the stage which was the cornerstone of Wonderland's creation still exists? The front stage topples over into the backstage.
Let's see what the White Queen hid there together, shall we?
Mabel muses about the nature of this garden, joking about her own logic of making things as she runs off after smelling something. Welcome to Winterbell. The final area of the DLC, a Lovecraftian city of white outside of logic, of time and space, dotted around with what I can only assume are our extra kids, awaiting their turn to take the places of the current actors, maybe even the current actors themselves, existing now in the past and the future. As the Cheshire cat says,
"Even the chiming of the bell sleeping in your memory is drowned out by the gears of your mind. This garden is frozen, and so there's no future, and so the past repeats."
The area is dotted with buildings you can enter. One, as if made to Mabel's wishes, is filled with wine. She hands us a bottle and invites us for a drink.
This is exactly what you need to immerse yourself into the mundane world. The concentration of alcohol in this bottle is just right to make you feel nice. By the way, there must be something crazy about your mental makeup. Well, if you were linked to outer ones and all. All the great ones are calculative. Their souls murky with black taint. But I'm still working my hardest to keep pace with your kind and understand, you know? For example, sorry. Let me tell you a funny joke. It's wonderful when an author dies. Since there's no chance of any new works, their patrons can cut all ties. So, how was it? Was it funny? Hey, listen! I'm like the oldest around, the greatest, but everyone keeps bullying me, calling me a fossil, a relic of the past, and so on. Poor little May May. Her role is going to prop Alice up.
Mabel shares some warm dialogue, humanizing herself a little. Well, at least for someone who seems against the idea of losing their identity as an outer one. As we'll soon see, each building holds memories. The first one is of little sister Alice coming to visit Mabel, saying that older sister Alice vanished a few cycles ago. A few outer ones disappeared from the garden. The branch of the crawling one puts the blame on Mabel, deducting that Mabel must have trapped them in her realm, suspecting that even the crawling one is in on this, a plan to slaughter the outer ones. But Mabel simply responds,
Wear the role, and even your soul will sink into the actor, until you forget what you truly are.
The outer ones that disappeared must have realized the fact that as they stay here, as they put on roles and propagate with Grimm, they slowly lose their incomprehensible nature. They become people-like, gain emotions, even attachments. Even the crawling one has already gone mad, but when given the suggestion of leaving, little sister Alice proves Mabel's words. She refuses to run away, because mother and daughter Alice are here. How human have they all become? Node and Mabel are talking on a beach. It's the moment when Mabel chooses to stop playing along with what's happening in Wonderland. Mabel was intrigued by Leaf's creation, yet calls us a ghoul in heat. Although Mabel wouldn't mind taking us into her chantourage. Node is opposed in every way, telling Mabel that she's just a parasite sucking off of other people's work.
Tell me your own true nature. What can be the reason you went so far as tossing me the crown to shelter that child? Could it be you want to take and devour it? To recline on your throne? To rule and to exploit? That is a great one's true nature. Am I wrong?
But Node denies that about herself. Node says that she's driven by love. Mabel laughs, saying that that's just an instinct, while Node continues to affirm that she understands emotions. It is a language that transcends species, the glorious human heart that can give birth to each and every emotion. That is the one miracle an outer one wishes to obtain, even if it's only Fox humanity. I want to understand him. I want to know true love. I want to experience it. With this, I was once again grabbed by the lungs and twisted around from the disgust I felt. The feeling of animosity against the outer ones somewhat started to fade, at least for Node and Mabel. These two seem to consciously fully understand what they're doing. Mabel as a way out for others, and Node as someone who wants to give you unconditional love, who voluntarily wants to become more human. This game is incredible at blame, and making you blame whoever is on screen. Mary Sue is responsible for our suffering, or is it Prayer Master who may have called the crawling crawling one to come to the tea party? Is it Lewis Carroll praying for a second chance at life, where all his dreams come true? Scooty at fault for running away from home only to find the life she despises? Even if she brainwashed a guy, it truly makes you scratch that everyone feels small in the grand scheme of things, of each other's actions and belief. Mabel, however, does not believe in an outer one understanding human emotions. As Node and Mabel quarrel, Mabel finally reaches her point. She'd like to talk to Node about something, telling her that she'll get the love she desires. Next is a memory of Leaf losing her power. As Mary Sue continues her desperate pleas and deception, asking to be saved, Node says that she already saved her. If Node had come any later, the crawling one would have consumed her. Node tells Mary Sue that her creations have a negative impact on the Great Ones. As Sue teases her, after all, Node is in love with one of her creations. The short exchange ends, only for an unknown face to appear, saying, "Mary, Mary, my cute little Mary, do you want out of here?" A red room, doused and splashed in blood, as a girl sinks a knife into herself over and over again. That girl being Pricket. With her blood and tears, the room will soon turn into a pond. As she continuously says she's sorry over and over again, Node grabs her hand to stop her. Even now he's suffering all because of me, and so, because of it, that's why I want to share in his pain. We will never meet again, but in doing so I can surely at least grasp his suffering. This is foolishness. Your harming will not aid him. He would never wish for your pain. Is what Node wanted to say, but she's in no place to admonish her, from a seat where she herself can be blamed for nothing, one that corrects the garden to the wishes of the crawling one. Node just apologizes for being unable to follow Pricket's wishes. Pricket is another outer one who just wants to be human, as Node hugs her, not as an outer one, but as someone who understands, loving the same person she does. Node meets Pricket again, thanking her for inheriting the country and becoming the Red Queen. Pricket simply is thankful, saying that it's a bit of a shame that Winterbell is gone now, but not to worry, Pricket is planning of building an amusement park. You've changed. It's hard to believe you were once a part of the crawling one. Pricket takes Node to her personal domain, somewhere where even the crawling one can't hear. As Node asks if Pricket has found a way to save him, Pricket responds, yes, but she won't be able to do it alone. But Node has to promise to be ready to lay down her life for him. Node responds with no hesitation. The chance for the plan to succeed is incredibly low. It would be a miracle if it did. But Pricket thinks that that is the only way to tear him out of the curse of the cycles and to return him to reality. Node asks if Pricket told anyone else about the plan. Pricket responds, no one, while Node catches her in a lie. Pricket confesses that she also talked to Mabel. Node is disappointed, but Pricket continues questioning her existence, the sadness she feels being unable to do anything for him. Node, I just can't keep going. Why am I alive? I don't understand. Only seeing his face unable to do anything at all, it makes me want to break down in tears. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. Is it not so? Node buckles, telling her that to save him, she'll help. Pricket in general is quite strange. She doesn't transform into a monster at 0 sanity, nor she does fighting her. She flashes into Alice if you talk to her at 0 sen. And with the knowledge we have now, some of her dialogue is recontextualized. Her coming from space, the theme park being prepared just for us, the fact that we even get special treatment and question it, and the fact that she says, why not sneak away, just like Pricket, and tells us to not to forget our Alice. The fact that she cries after seeing the Tea Party movie. Why would she cry after that? And with that, we continue on through Winterbell. What I didn't realize is that I'm in for the biggest twist yet. Why? This turns into a visual novel. There's a note on the cupboard. Oh. Oh no. Oh no. We play as Lewis Carroll in the little household, as we're left to take care of the 3 daughters of the family and do various tasks, such as night watch. Alice tells us that in here there is another girl besides the 3 sisters, that if she found us, she'd kill us. This visual novel sequence is full of references to Alice in Wonderland and game details scattered about. Outside of the shitting of my pants, there is not a lot to talk about in this segment. It is just good horror. Ignoring doing everything correctly. Just go for the bad end. The good end is no good, nuh-uh.
Hey, yo, the pizza here.
With that, we escape the dream. Mabel simply states that what we're enjoying now is a false world, a false happiness. What else is new? There is a better future than such star waste. The present, future, and past of this place has converged, as an another us and an another Mabel appear on screen. Our soul is bound to the power that made us, which is now Grand Guignol. It wishes to meet us. Who would have guessed that the stage itself has an ego? We meet the random frog that was in the previous game. The games.
Why is he drawn like that?
As we ask him to take care of our daughters before we take the final plunge. Carnacki lays there defeated after learning that there was no crown. He hands us his book before vanishing, or he would, if I exhausted his dialogue. Lo and behold, I miss out on the ending of the only character questline I completed. Actual Black Souls moment. And so Mabel tells us that past here is Grand Guignol, something we'd like to have. But we ask Mabel, what's in this for her? She responds simply with a, "Can't you trust me?" She gives another snarky remark before saying that all whose gardens we experience believe that a story lives through repetition. No matter how many times you consume tasteless drivel, the only thing you'll feel is boredom. Like it is impossible to create purity in a tainted soul. Sooner or later, we will break. That's why Grand Guignol needs us. The ability to create would mix with the power to innovate. Surely the gardens made in this unity would be beautiful. Mabel comforts us, that it might feel lonely to welcome the end. But there is nothing to be scared about.
Well, that's certainly one narrow staircase. It's poorly designed in all aspects. Now, my garden, on the other hand...
Mabel shitposts as we descend down the stairs.
That's quite right. Great ones are so happy to be praised and wanted, they just recklessly manifest into reality. My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me la la.
Just as my luck would have it, out of around 20 minutes worth of RNG dialogue that you can get from the stairway, I got a horrific outcome. As she asks me if I'm sure about not bringing my daughters with me, she says that we could use them in a war or as slaves to sate our lust, as if she's trying to mimic Leaf. This is off-putting for a final chat, like all the time attaching to her is slipping past our fingers. She's acting weird. She continues talking about Princess Carries, directly lying about the shapes outer ones can take, and this so-called date comes to a close. We see what Grimm, or well, Lewis Carroll identifies as Little's doll. Mabel says this is Grand Guignol, mimicking the shape of a doll. Quite dreadful, according to her.
What sad, pitiful Grimm. Yet again, you've been deceived. Even the last straw you clung to has betrayed you. Grand Guignol is some convenient Deux Ex Machina. You've been summoned here as a snack to be fed upon. With your current vessel, you can't become the king. Therefore, you'll have to be transferred to a new one. That is the real reason for your invitation. I'm terribly sorry. Mabel really is one awful girl, isn't she? The fairy tale fantasy will come to an end as nothingness spreads. Past, present, and future, everything will share the same fate. If such a conclusion terrifies you, then go forth without looking back. Follow the script and offer yourself to Grand Guignol!
The walls close in on her.
My, do you hate me so? Do you want to kill me? I suppose it's only natural. But you've no need to worry. Mabel will die, even if that's this. It seems I served my purpose. I did enjoy it, you know. Playing love with you. You're running out of time, even for yourself. Much less care about me. Hurry ahead.
The bars don't bend.
It's pointless. Your actions are futile. This is an execution site built just for me. It has been changed so that it cannot be stopped or destroyed. I don't get it. Do you not hate me? Are you not trying to kill me? Why do you look so sad? I don't understand it. I just can't understand the human heart. Why? Listen to me. It's all right. Calm down and listen. To tell you the truth, I don't get the taste of wine. I can't even feel it. I simply get drunk on the atmosphere. I was only acting out to look just a little bit friendlier to you. Nothing more. The outer ones cannot understand humans, after all. But you alone, just a little bit. I understood. The hot feeling filling my chest now. I'm sure it must be the same as human emotions. Don't cry. It's time for you to go. Close your eyes, alright?
We have a little time to mourn Mabel's sacrifice. She, at least for my unique playthrough, billed herself as a villain walking down the stairs, trying to make this as light on us as possible, trying to get us to turn around and resent her without a second thought. But we have once again beaten a boss. Therefore, we are human again. Therefore, just kill me, you envieful bird bastard. This one is actually quite a fun puzzle fight, since you have to stun him during his turn. And so, the final fight begins. We're back in the breeding room, the text above the door now saying Grand Gugnol as an Alice stands before, turning into a doll. She beckons us to come closer, saying, "Let us finally become one." Being insane and choosing to offer your soul shows us just how unconditional Node's love is. She wakes us up, telling us about the never-ending assault on Wonderland that the crawling one is doing. Presumably, we have now taken over the garden. Now that we awakened as a creator, it shouldn't be much to deal with, as the garden is ours, our children are plenty, and in full force they will take over the skies. Together we will all head towards the end of the world. We don't have to fear anything anymore, as Node once again joins with whatever mush of a being we've become. Picking Resist pits us against Grand Gugnol with its 6 acts, presumably from Lord's newspaper, Stillbirth, Ultimate Torture, since the mental word Waxwork, and the Faceless Man. The first fight begins, the one representing Waxwork. This phase is quite simple, not requiring much from the player outside of dealing damage. The next is Femme Fatale. It is a question if these names or the names seen prior stand, since Lord, the asshole that keeps attacking us when we're human, seemingly had Grand Gugnol taken from him. The 3 Alices we face in this phase are each named after one of the books of Lewis Carroll. At this point, the most unfortunate thing has happened. I built up God's Angels, trivializing the entire fight. The Lion and the Unicorn mixes Laydens and Eunice's debuffs together, leaving you only able to attack. Next is Pure White Prison, possibly being a nod to the sins of the mental asylum mentioned in the paper, which keeps reducing your max HP and speed each turn. After that is No Face, something that does correspond to one of Lord's plays. Killing it as fast as possible is priority, as it gains an extra turn each turn. Next phase is Alice in Marriage, turning your stats down. The worst nightmare of Lewis Carroll we learned about throughout the game. The cogs around her and the clock signifying the passing of time and Alice leaving him behind. And after that is Grand Gugnol itself, a representation of all of Wonderland. As we get to tear this god Polarisu's power bit by bit. The doll flashes in the location of every roll of the play where every outer one stood, as it fades to dust that we absorb into ourselves. Node, the real one, walks up to us, looking at us from the bottom of the stage, holding a blade. "You've finally reached the end. Because the ever-turning gears have stopped, I've never been so terrified of the passage of time in my life. I want your love." How frustrating it was to have that beautiful glow right before me, yet out of my reach. And then, at last, I realized that we were never going to be together. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And for that reason, I'm stepping aside. My end is not an unhappy one. Being able to meet you, being able to spend so much time with you, all of it made me truly, truly happy. It was a good reality. The crawling one has caught up as Node and the Cheshire cat now stand in their way. Daughter Alice, Mother Alice, Little Sister Alice try to stop us. Before Little Sister Alice swats the 2 others away and pushes us to go, she out of the trio is the one in denial of her role of loving us, unlike the other 2, who are completely lost to it. They are left to infight before the mad trio jumps them. We cross the ravine forming as both Winterbell and Wonderland start to collapse, forced to take a final leap of faith, only for a hand to be caught by Red Hood.
Grim! It's okay. We won't ever separate again.
But she's physically too weak. A slip of a girl lifting up an entire 8-man man. No, that's not the issue. Her expression looks into the void under me as something squirms, pulling me down. It's the crawling one. Dreadhood has no intention of letting go. But what is next after this, after we get out? Red has implied the idea of finding a way to bring back our companions from the first game. But in stories, it's often very easy to empathize with the insane goals made by protagonists. The circumstances, the voiced outlooks, everything justifies to the player that we're striving for a brighter future. That something as insane as dethroning an omnipotent ruler at the cost of your country, reviving old allies, moving on and living is the right choice. The fact that our very existence, very being, will bring pain to others. The fact that we're partially one of the multitude of factors to blame for the state of the world. Everything we experience is disconnected yet intertwined with reality. The connections we made are fairy tale characters brought to life, real people overwritten, copies of people, gods pretending till they lose godhood, us continuously put through horrific circumstances out of our control. What does it mean to move on? To fill the selfish need to want to bring back those that possibly should have not existed in the first place in this unfair reality? Who's to guarantee if we ever bring back Dorothy, she wouldn't assimilate into the world where the strong rule? What about Bricket, Node, anybody else we only met under these twisted circumstances of the gods bringing down abnormal horrors? Not only to us, but to the entire world. This is just how the world is now. A lot of this game in essence is about the idea of self-driven action versus conformity. Cudi deciding to run away from home in search of romance. Cudi deciding to stand against Node. Outer Ones deciding to leave after realizing they are losing their nature. Mabel choosing to distance herself from becoming human. When so many make no choice and just meld into their roles, unconsciously losing themselves in the process. Is that also our doing? Florence ushered us to give up. Eunice, stretching the definition, blamed us for what we are. We are cursed and will bring misfortune to others, all because Leaf chose to make Elysium Prayer Master's prayer, our prayer. We put the blade against our arm.
What are you? No, Grim, please! Stop! Don't!
But now, all will be well. Together with the crawling girls we fall, and fall, and fall, and crash. Just how much time have I lost? I don't know anymore. Surrounded by the little girls, I'm in a death hell on repeat. The gear stands still. In solitude, I too sit still. I'm being crushed to death by the love of the little girl I do not know. I'm being painted over. My memory, personality, all is being overwritten by Alice. The pain of being devoured alive floods me. Wrought flesh crumbles, bone outside, exposed. Soul warps. My mind is a pot of murky rancid soup. Where am I? Color vanishes, turns to ash. I sink into the pit of sloth. Who am I? You're Grim. Please, open your eyes. You can't fall asleep. In the darkness, I hear the voice of the dear little girl, but my memory is dead. I cannot remember it, and I do not care. Now, you can finally escape. You can return to reality. I'm already so tired. Please, just let me sleep. My existence alone brings sorrow to everyone. I only want to disappear, unknown by all. Is this what you really want? After countless repeats, is this where you want your end to be? Is this the scenery you struggled so hard to reach? No, I won't accept it. This is the worst tale. I'm sorry. Because of me, you've suffered so. I shouldn't have run away. Like now, I should have been by your side. The crawling one doesn't move, time stands still. But at least I can finally save you. Come, follow me. The girl leading me, I stumble through the darkness. Light shines through and I see it. This is the door leading outside. I step into the white world. Before I realize it, her hand has left mine. She's standing away, seeing me off with a smile. Come together with me. I reach out to clasp her hand once more, but she remains in the darkness, smiling yet unmoving. I'm sorry, I can't be with you anymore. My memories, my touch, please forget it, all like a dream. And walk, run, never stopping, never turning back. I'm sure you'll struggle through. No, I will never forget you. Alice, One day I'll take your gentle hand, I'll return to save you, and we'll reunite as lovers once more. This is the ending you get by having Bricket's ring in your inventory, as we see a leaf fly by the screen one last time. Conformity isn't ideal either. I mean, Node, Bricket and Mabel all made their choice themselves, from choosing to learn human emotions, to staying away from them, to guiding us. Here, the force for us to act is external. People, well in this case creatures, who care about you, show affection and push you towards a better life. These kinds of people are precious, since we all know how much of doing nothing we can do in our lives. Just as earlier I called our predisposition a melancholic look at fate, that isn't the full picture of our being or our life. It is true that with or without us, people will continue acting on selfish whims. Everyone will live, have things happen to them with or without us, for the better or worse, just like we ourselves live, caring about us. Even Florence, if you do the quest back in the Wonderland properly, puts her hope in us. What's another wish for the Count? With the support of everyone who put their affection into us, at my first fucking opportunity I'm pulling out my machine gun and shooting at the fucking moon. If these selfish gods can descend upon the earth and make a bunch of stupid gardens pretending to be writers, what takes the right away from us to work for any sort of a better future that so many of our companions talked about, and not only talked about, worked to give us? As long as we're not ruining anybody's whole existence, maybe shouting out and stumbling until we bring those we care about back is in fact worth a shot. But for now, there's more important ways to spend our time than wandering lost looking for the next step.
The morning sun is beautiful.
It is.
Hey, could you clasp my hand?
Yes, certainly.
Today is the happiest day of my life. If only it could last forever.
I'm sure it will. It is a bit of a tangent, but I like to close off this video with a pre-word from the first edition of Brothers Grimm's Tales. Wherever the tales still exist, they continue to live in such a way that nobody ponders whether they are good or bad, poetic or crude. People know them and love them because they have simply absorbed them in a habitual way, and they take pleasure in them without having any reason. This is exactly why the custom of storytelling is so marvelous, and it is just what this poetic art has in common with everything eternal. People are obliged to be disposed toward it, despite the objections of others. Incidentally, it is easy to observe that the custom of storytelling has stuck only where poetry has enjoyed a lively reception, and where the imagination has not yet been obliterated by the perversities of life. In the same regard, we don't want to praise the tales or even defend them against a contrary opinion. Their mere existence suffices to defend them. That which has managed to provide so much pleasure time and again, and has moved people and taught them something, carries its own necessity in itself, and has certainly emanated from that eternal source that moistens all life. And even if it were only a single drop that a folded leaf embraces, it will nevertheless glitter in the early dawn. This text is purely written in regard to spoken tales, but I think it fits all forms of media. I value questionable games a lot. Blue Archive for its depiction of depression, this for all I've talked about. But it would be naive to assume that everyone protects them for the same reason. Depictions of controversial topics in media is a touchy subject, and the person's ability to tolerate it is very much tied to their own personal experiences. For example, there is a character in Black Souls 1 that actually personally disturbed me. The brothel worker Mary just makes me ask, why? She refuses to go with you to the safe place unless you shove her in the dungeon, and if you kill her there past progression 5, tada, you get a ring! I never did that. I don't even know what the ring does. If you progress far enough, the brothel gets overrun by demon beasts and Mary herself becomes one, a fleshy slime humanoid figure summoning baby enemies one by one. Just like, why? What is the game trying to tell by this, if anything? Abortion bad? Sorry babe, no protection, it's the 1600s and the horse stays on during sex. I personally was disturbed by the visual of this, even if it barely tangentially related to something that had happened to a couple of people I know. Can I in good faith say that if something horrifying happened to someone around me, something more aligned with the themes of the game, would I still be able to speak of it the way I do? None of us can choose how, if at all, we'll be remembered, how people will look back on our lives, statements, work, and what that may inspire. Even I, making this, have no idea what responses I'll get and what people will say about my work. About me. I am happy to have played these games and made this video the time I did. I have held many horrible opinions in the past, and often looking at the other side of the argument, all I found was laughter, no explanation, nothing to relate to. So even if this video ends up being tone deaf, I hope it can be at least a start of an understanding and discussion for a few, as self-centered and pretentious and egotistical this statement is. All the current me can say is that no matter what you believe in, and no matter what you say, at least I know that as a person living life, taking actions that impact others, having people who care about you, you are more than what you say or believe in. You have more experiences in you than insert my cynical fat joke here. Of course, that doesn't absolve you of your statements, actions, or beliefs. I just can't bring myself to hate or ruin anybody but the truly guilty. And if you'd like to prove the at least I part of these statements wrong, do better, so that one day I can say us, or we. Thank you for watching.
Shiragu を追い越して届けたい両手